participants, please do read the housekeeping rules, which has been posted in the chat box. Dear participants, as we wait for the event to commence, we would like to remind you of a few housekeeping rules. Firstly, participants are requested to turn on your cameras and always ensure your mic is muted to avoid disrupting the flow of the event. Secondly, please rename your Zoom username to matrix number followed by a full name. Thirdly, participants are required to fill out a Google form which will be given during the event to record your attendance and to provide memories. Everyone here is requested to stay in the Zoom session until the end of the event to avoid any disturbance. Dear participants, please do read the housekeeping rules which has been posted in the chat box. Dear participants, as we wait for the event to commence, we would like to remind you of a few housekeeping rules. Firstly, participants are requested to turn on your cameras and always ensure your mic is muted to avoid disrupting the flow of the event. Secondly, please rename your Zoom username to matrix number followed by a full name. Thirdly, participants are required to fill up a Google form which will be given during the event to record your attendance and to provide merits. Everyone here is requested to stay in the Zoom session until the end of the event to avoid any disturbances. Very good evening to our wonderful guest of event, Ms. Sashmira Anapovanganisan, the President of GPM, Ms. Nancy Novmia Anapovanganayagam, the Director of this program, Mr. Hansto, the instructor of Talk the Job workshop, and last but not the least, all of our beloved UPM students. We are very much delighted to welcome all of you to our Talk the Job Career Insights workshop. To get the ball rolling, we will begin our program today with the singing of Tragamilang, followed by Tamal Taiva.
உலகத்தின் தலைநிலத்தில் ஆழ்பவளே, தாய் புலமையால் புவியில் தனிப்பெருமை கொண்டவளே, தமிழரோடு புலம் பெயர்ந்து தரணி எங்கும் வாழ்பவளே, நிலை பெற நீ வாழியவே, நிலை பெற நீ வாழியவே. எங்கள் எழில் மலேசியத்தில் சிங்கைதனில் ஈழ மண்ணில் இலக்கியமாய் வழக்கியலாய் இலக்காவல் தருபவளே, பொங்கி வளர் அறிவியலின் புத்தாக்கம் அத்தனைக்கும் பொருந்தி இன்றும் இவ்வுலகில் புரட்சி வலம் வருபவளே, செவ்வியலின் இலக்கியங்கள் செழித்திருந்த பொற்காலம் சேர்த்து வைத்த செய்யுள் வளத்தில் செம்மாந்த பழையவளே, அவ்வியலில் வேரூன்றி அறிவுயர்ந்த தற்காலம் அழகழகாய் உரைநடையும் ஆளுந்த புதியவளே, புலங்கடந்து நெறி கடந்து நிலவரம்பின் தடை கடந்து கோமகளாய் தமிழர் மனம் கொலுவிருக்கும் தமிழனங்கே, நிலவினுக்கே பெயர்ந்தாலும் நினதாட்சி தொடரும் அம்மா, நிலவினுக்கே பெயர்ந்தாலும் நினதாட்சி தொடரும் அம்மா, நிறைகுறையாச்சம் மொழியே நிலை பெற நீ வாழியவே, நிலை பெற நீ வாழியவே.
Dear participants, please turn on your camera as we have finished singing. Everyone here is required to keep their camera on till the end of this program. Hello everyone. I would like to inform all of you that this workshop is organized by none other than Academic and Career Exco, Persatuan Hindu University Putra Malaysia, with the sole intention to equip our UPM students interview skills and also techniques for a good resume, which will be highly imperative in students' work life. Therefore, we really hope that all of you can gain a good input from this program on how to boost up your self-confidence, which will be beneficial in search of job opportunities. Moving on to the next agenda, I would like to call upon our director of this workshop, Ms. Nancy Novmia Anapmarinayagan, to deliver her welcoming speech.
Thank you, Isha. A very pleasant good evening to one and all. It is with great honor and renewed joy that I address you as the person responsible for the program, Talk the Job Career Insights 2023. On behalf of the program team, allow me, first of all, to extend a warm welcome to the President of Persatuan Hindu University Putra Malaysia, session 2022-2023, Shasmira Ganesan, board members of PHUPM, committee members, and to all of the students who are present today. I would also like to seize this opportunity to convey my heartfelt gratitude to the speaker of this event, Mr. Hans To, for accepting the invitation and presiding over this event tonight. This program is organized to gain insights from a professional speaker to enlighten all of us present here on how to prepare a professional resume that reflects our skills, knowledge, and education that are relevant to the job that we are seeking for, and also to guide the community of job seekers on how to ace an interview. Both slots for today's event was chosen keeping in mind of the competitive job market. That is the reality today, and it is important to stand out from the competition to get hired for our desired career. Therefore, I ensure this program will be profitable and fruitful for everyone present here in making and implementing informed educational and occupational choices. Lastly, I would like to extend to each one of you all my most cordial wishes for the success of your future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miss Nancy, for your welcoming speech. Without further ado, we will start our workshop immediately. The first session of our workshop will be on resume writing. Here is a brief introduction of our speaker tonight. He is Malaysia's first certified professional resume writer and certified employment interview professional. He's also the author of Get Hired, Modern Resume Writing and Interview Techniques. He possesses over 15 years of experience in this field, where he has reviewed as well as written over 10,000 resumes across all levels of career progression, covering from entry levels to senior management levels. Not only that, he also actively gets involved in resume writing seminars and workshops where he has shared his in-depth experiences. With that being said, I would like to welcome Mr. Hans Stowe to conduct our Talk the Job workshop. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Isha. Okay, let me share my screen first, yeah. Okay, please enable share screen. Okay. All right, let me do it to full screen. Hi, everybody. Thanks for inviting me. I'm so excited to be able to share today. Even though it's evening, I hope everybody is in a very excited mood as well, so that we can learn as much as possible. So I hope whatever I share within these few hours, would be able, you will be able to use it to sharpen your interview skills, your resume writing skills. In the end, a race to basically get hired. This is basically the theme of our talk. All right, get hired, resume writing and interview. All right, so a bit about myself. I think the MC already shared a bit about myself. Just a bit of correction is basically the experience. All right, it's actually more than 20 years already. I started back in 2002. I think today. Now is already 2023, almost 21 years in this field. All right. Throughout these years, I have been working with people just like you all to get hired. All right. So I work with people, across the board. Could be fresh graduates, junior executives, senior executives, managers, senior management people, CEOs, and also people who wants to get a dato-ship. All right. So I work with them as well. Basically, you don't come to me for the dato-ship, you come to me for the resume. Yeah? So when you need when you want to go for dato-ship, there's one criteria, which is you got to send the resume. So they come to me as well. So I have experience in that. And in terms of interviews, all right, I also provide coaching to quite a lot of professionals, but most of it is working professionals. Fresh graduates is pretty much very, very straightforward. Because in the end of the day, you don't have much skills to share or experience to share, But throughout this session, I hope I can, I hope you ask questions, so that I can come up with a lot of answers, or basically, my experience working with other people. The most important thing is that, because I myself, in terms of my career, I have certain amount of experience, but the most important thing is when I work with someone else, especially people who are higher level. So I always query them, how they get from one point to the other, and then they share, what it is. So I ask quite a lot. So in the end of the day, I would be able to match. I think basically finding a trend, so that at least I can share to the next next person who wants to know more. All right. Okay. So as you know, so I authored Get Hired. There are two books actually. One is English. The other one is Malay. Yeah. All right. I wrote both of it. Okay. Unfortunately, I can't do one in Mandarin because my Mandarin sucks. Okay. Definitely, it's basically those two languages. And in terms of social media, you can find me in Hans Stowe in LinkedIn. All right. And then Facebook is Hans.resume. And on YouTube, you can find me as Hans Stowe, Certified Professional Resume Writer. And also right now trying to create TikTok. I think you guys are more to TikTok than anything else, but slowly we're getting there. All right. Okay. So this is a bit about myself. Okay. So this is what we're going to cover tonight. Yeah. In terms of the areas that we're going to talk about. Okay, there are going to be two areas. First thing is the resume writing part. Okay, under resume writing, we're going to talk about the fundamentals of a professional resume, and the other one is the layout selection, basically the design, the template, and also the cover letter, because I believe all these will come together. All right, after the break, we're going to do the job interview. The job interview is usual. There's before the interview, what you need to prepare, and during interview, how do you say things, how you behave, and stuff like that. And also after interview, what are the strategies that you can use, to follow up and stuff like that. So that's basically what we're going to cover. And hopefully throughout these sessions, you got questions, you find a place to write it down first, all right, so that at the end of the whole session, we can go back and answer. I'll try to answer everything, but most of the time I can, okay, because most of the information is already in here, all right, and whatever I can present is in the slides. So if anything more than that, I hope you can ask a lot of questions. All right, so let's begin, yeah? Okay, so I always start off the sessions between the differences between a resume and a CV. So a lot of times clients come to me, Hans, I want to do a CV, I want to do a resume, and they will ask me this question. So what's actually the differences? All right, to me, CV is actually a lengthy document that contains everything about you, and the function is mostly for educational purposes. Educational purposes meaning, let's say, for example, you want to apply for a scholarship, you want to apply for research position, lecturer position, or even, for example, you want to get a master scholarship or a degree scholarship, right? Okay, so those are basically things, areas that you use a CV, all right? Whereas on a resume, it's actually a document that contains relevant information and is very short, all right, towards the job that you want to apply. So if you're applying for a job, actually, especially in the corporate area, you use a resume instead of the CV. But a lot of times when you go to, let's say, for example, you go to JobStreet, LinkedIn, right? A lot of times the recruiter will ask, can you send me your latest CV or resume? They use this interchangeably, So that confuses a lot of people. But to me, in the end of the day, what determines this is, what are you using it for? If let's say, for example, if you're using for educational purposes, then you need to create a CV. Whereas if you're applying for a job in a corporate company, then you use a resume. So example, let's say, for example, you're applying for a job in Maxis. So under the vacancy there, it's written there, please send your latest CV to this email for our review, whatever it is. All right. So instead of sending a CV, knowing that Maxis is a corporate company, you will need to send a resume instead. Yeah. So always be careful on that. The reason is like this: if you're sending a CV, which is a lengthy document towards a corporate job, you might have an issue because a lot of time people out there, especially in the corporate world, have no time to read lengthy stuff. All right, so that's why resume is short, and then that's why you send it for them. Whereas in the education side, they got a lot of time, I think so. So that's why they're going to look through everything. All your information available is inside the CV. So that's basically the differences, which brings me to this question. All right. So what is a resume? All right. Resume is actually a marketing tool. All right. When we talk about marketing tool, is to market who? Is to market you. Yeah. You as a job seeker. All right. And it is served as your brochure. So when you talk about brochure, right, all of us been to, I think, shopping malls and I think most of the time shopping malls. As you walk around, when people pass, when you walk around, people pass you a brochure. How long do you look at it? My question to you, how long do you look at it? I think most of us will probably take a glance and then throw it away because what? A lot of times the stuff that they're selling is irrelevant to us. Similarly, in terms of the resume, right? When you send your resume to any hiring manager, they would scan it first. And when you scan, usually it takes between 5 to 6 seconds to scan it. All right. So, and they will decide whether this resume they want to read further or not. So how do you ensure that within this first 6 seconds, the scanning of the first 6 seconds, you can capture them? All right. So you want to know that? All right. Later, I'm going to share with you how it is. I've been doing this for past 20 years already. It's never failed me. So I'm going to share to you, the basically the secrets of that. All right. Okay. So that's basically the first thing, marketing tool. Yeah. Secondly, the resume is actually a tool for you to get an interview. An interview. All right. It's not for you to get a job. So there's no point of telling a lot of things in there. So because job hunting is a two-step process. The first process is sending out your resume so that you can get an interview. And then when your interview, go in there and then sell yourself, explain yourself, then only you get a job. So a lot of times I see clients, most of my clients, they will get confused. Should I include this or not, include that or not? To me, there's no need to include everything. Include things that's relevant. So that brings me to the third thing, which is when you talk about resume, it's about sharing the most relevant information. So it means that, for example, if you have 3 sets of skills, right? A skill, B skill, and C skill. Let's say, for example, if the job only wants A skill, you go in there, write your resume, focus on A skill, meaning 80% of the content in your resume is talking about A skill. Whereas if, let's say, for example, you want to apply for a job that requires your B skill, same thing. 80% of your time, of the resume, you only write B skills. The A and C is only 20%. Similarly, we see, like, let's say, for example, you have another skill that you want to apply. So it means that you would need to create multiple version of the resume. Don't go in there and then create one version of 33% A skill, 33% B skill, 23% C skill. When you send like that, they look at you, they look at your resume, and they'll feel you are a generalist. Generalists mean you can do a lot of things, yes, but when people hire, they hire specialists. Means that, let's say, for example, they're working on that particular function. Let's say, for example, they want someone to do accounting, AR, AP, for example, accounts receivable, accounts payable, then you must focus on that area. Even though you have other skill set, like, for example, financial analysis, whatever, that's not required of you at that moment. So it doesn't have any value. Of course, when you go already come into the company, they'll throw everything at you, definitely. But as a fresh graduate, that's good, because what? It allows you to learn more. And why do you want to learn more? Because it will create value in you. When people hire, they hire you for your value. It's not, to fill up certain quota. No, they ask you to come and work. So the more skill set you have, the more things that you do, the more things that you can do, the more valuable you are to them. And the more valuable you are to them, you can ask for more money. Basically, that's how life is. Same thing. People come to me, why? Because I offer value, I help them to get hired, basically. That's why if you look at I'm not sure, if you got time, go to Hans.com, look for my fees. It's not cheap, but it's not that expensive. Okay. So we command a certain fee because we have proven track record in doing that. All right. Similarly, I come here, to share this so that whoever is listening out there, you guys, all right, 56 of you, right? 55 of you around there. Okay. To ensure that you try to apply whatever I'm going to share with you, throughout this 2 hours. Okay. Hopefully you can get a job very soon. By the way, I'm not sure, when are you guys going to graduate? Hopefully within this year. I don't want, I've been through all these many workshops already. The people who are nearly completing that one, they're very kanchong one, meaning very excited, very scared, not excited, very scared, so they got a lot of questions. But if those who are probably another 2 years to go and everything, they just listen only. My problem is by the time comes they want to use the knowledge, is already gone. So anyhow, go and ask ask question later. Yeah. All right. So that's a bit about resume. And after that, I'm going to ask this question. What hiring managers want to know? Okay, hiring managers are people that are going to hire you. Basically your future bosses. They are not HR people. They are hiring managers. Basically someone who wants you to work with the team so that they can solve their problems. Yeah. Frankly, when people hire, they hire someone is to solve problems. If there's no problem, there's no need to hire. So always keep that in mind. Yeah. So that's basically what they want, someone to solve the problem. So what are they looking for? All right. Basically, in a fresh graduate, there are 2 things that they're looking for. All right. 2 things. Yeah. Be clear on that. Number 1 is your hard skills. Hard skills are basically your knowledge and also your experiences. What is knowledge? Knowledge is the things that you learn in uni. So let's say, for example, you study IT. What do you learn in IT? Programming, coding, networking. All right. Basically, all this technical stuff. Yeah. So what you need to do is you need to share those information to let them know that you have that particular skill set. Because things like, for example, IT skills are programming, right? They're not gonna hire someone with no programming background to do the work. Because what? They can't do the work because it's a technicality, So that's why when they hire, they want to hire someone with the right competency. Same thing with, let's say, for example, doing HR. All right, they want someone who has the HR knowledge, like, for example, compensation and benefits administration, and then admin training and development, recruitment. All right, so those are examples of functions under HR. So I'm sure when you study your courses, definitely there would be modules that related to that. This is how they prepare university, prepare you to the real world, like the working world. So that's what they are looking for. So you got to share that information in the resume, and they want to know what it is. All right, don't go there and tell them just the degree or diploma only. That's, I mean, to me, that's half cooked, you know. Got to go more in depth. Later, I'm going to show you what I meant. All right, so that's basically competency. The second one is experience. So why experience? Okay, experience, there are two types. One is basically, I mean, have you really worked in that particular function? Let's say, for example, you're doing accounting, yeah. All right, so you're studying accounting. So have you worked in an accounting setting before? So most of the time, if you have been through internship, you have actually go in the company and do help the people, the accounting department do accounts lah. All right, so that's basically the experiences they have. But you know, sometimes if you don't have the experience to do internship in terms of your same field, doesn't matter. You know, what you need to do is you need to share, you know, what sort of other experiences you have. A lot of times when you talk about fresh graduate, there's a lot of opportunity to do frontline jobs. What are frontline jobs? Sales, retail, customer service, service crew, whatever. This basically things that is you see in the shopping mall. All these are service crew. All right. So you have the experience. All right. You mentioned that as well. It will give you a better opportunity, because what? A lot of hiring managers, they want to have someone who have already worked before. Because I mean, I myself, I hire people. Yeah. There is a big difference between someone who has worked before and someone that's really never worked before. Even though they have a degree, but they never worked before. So the amount of time to train, you know, is much shorter for those who have worked before. And also basically the what they call it, the expectation, yeah. Expectation of what? Of how you do work and how you ask question. So those who already worked before, is easier to train. So they prefer those that already worked before. So I'm not sure, or I mean, all 59 of you, have you guys worked before or not? If let's say, for example, if you have never worked before, then it's probably find some time, like, you know, a week or two, go and work freelance or part-time first. Go and get that particular information, no, particular experience, so that you can share this information in your resume. So that's basically what they're looking for. So your resume has to share the hard skill information, which is the competencies and also the experience. All right, so that's the hard skill part. And of course, when you hard skill, there's another type of skill, which is soft skills lah. All right, so that's basically the second type of skills that they are looking for. All right, so what are soft skills? Soft skills, like for example, could be communication, leadership, teamwork, organization skill, planning skills, problem solving skills. These are all soft skills, meaning that it doesn't follow the field. You know, you can be an accountant and have good problem solving skill, and you could be IT and have good problem solving skill. You see, you know, it's all transferable. Yeah? So they want looking for that. So you will need to share that as well. So they want to know, you know, where you can when have you shown your leadership skill? So a lot of times, if those who are in association events and everything, you know, you're leading the planning and everything, that's basically leadership skill. And you know, if you are being an MC for any event, you know, you definitely have above average communication skill already. So that's to show them what it is. So of course, it depends job function, but most of the time they prefer someone who has both type of skills, which is hard skill and soft skill. And another part of soft skill is basically your characteristics. What are characteristics? For example, are you proactive or not? You know, are you willing to go the extra mile or not? You know, so those are examples. It means that proactive, people don't even need to ask you to do anything. You already know what to do. You go and do it first. You know, those are positive things. Okay, you gotta blend it together so that, you know, you create an interesting document, all right, so that they can consider you for the interview. And bear in mind, right now, for every job that is available out there, you can see probably 700 to 800 people applying. Yeah? So your chances is very, 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 not say chances, you know, your competition is very, very high. You know, compared to my time 20 years ago, we were only like around 300 people applying already, double up already. Yeah, so that's the situation here. So to me, most of the clients, or most of you right now, you have your own skill sets, what they call strengths and everything. The issue is, you know, you lack the ability to market. So hopefully you pay attention after this, so that you can market yourself more effectively, so you can get more interview offers. The most important thing is that. All right. Okay, so we're done with that. Okay, but that's the introduction. All right, this is the fundamentals of the professional resume. So we're gonna go in depth. All right, so this is basically a example of the resume for fresh graduate level. All right, if you look at it, it's 2 pages, most of the time 2 pages. All right, and you can see between 7 to 8 sections that that if you have it, good. If you don't have it, then you focus on things that you have lah. All right, so that's basically the rule of thumb here. Yeah. All right. So what we're gonna do? Okay, what we're gonna have. The first thing is basically at the top. Okay, you will need to have your contact information. So what are the contact information that you're supposed to have? Of course, the name must be there, and then and some people ask me, Hans, do I need to put my IC name? To me, this is not a real official document like a bank document, that can be used in the court of law, whatever it is. So if you have like glamour name, you can put it in there. Even for example, Hans is not my real name. Hans is basically a glamour name. All right. So you can put your Hans Tan Wei Han if you want to. So go and fine tune whatever it is. Make sure that people can remember you. That's important. All right. So go and find that name. So this is about the name. And then the second part is basically the location. Where are you from? That's important. They don't exactly need your full address. Some people can put the full address, go ahead. And some people just put the location. Like for example, Kuala Lumpur so big, right? Cannot just put Kuala Lumpur. So you got to put where specifically Kuala Lumpur, Bukit Jalil. Let's say for example you live there and then you put in there. And if you're applying to overseas, for example, you're applying for Singapore, right? You need to put the or Dubai, for example, yeah. You need to put your what they call that, your country in the address as well, so they know where you're from. All right. After that is basically your phone number. All right. Always use your mobile phone number followed by your email address. All right. When you talk about email address, try to get some professional sounding one, things that is relevant to your name, stay away from stuff like, for example, honeybunny@gmail.com, for example. Sounds so cute, so funny and everything. Okay, to me, those are not suitable because what? This is a professional, what they call that, document, and you need to make sure that it sounds professional. So go and find something that's relevant to your name, like for example, weihantan here at gmail.com. All right, age is also important. All right, in Malaysia, HR people wants to know if you're fresh graduates, you're below 25, 26, okay lah, fresh graduate lah. And also, if let's say, for example, you're applying for outside of Malaysia, all right, you can put the nationality. Or if you're a foreigner here, a foreigner in Malaysia, foreign student, you want to work in Malaysia, you need to put the nationality as well. So always, these are the few information that you need to include. All right, so stuff that you shouldn't include. All right, number one is your race, religion. There's no need for that. All right, because what? We are talking about the contact information already. So there's no need for that. All right. Secondly, is basically your marital status. All right. Unless you're applying for a what they call that, personal assistant or secretary position lah. All right. If those kind of position, if you're single, okay lah, put it there lah, because it gives you more what they call that, more leverage. All right. Bosses, all these bosses like single ladies to become PA. All right. So if you are in that field, then you put it in. If you're not, there's no need to include this marital status. Yeah. And then basically the rest, which is driving license and stuff like that, to me is irrelevant. Yeah, just focus on the information of, let people know who you are, where you're from, and how to contact you only. That's important. All right. And you will notice there's no photo. Why no photo? Because photo is the first thing that people would use to screen, yeah, before they even read anything. All right. I'm asked a lot of HR people, when you see a resume and a photo, what will you do with it? The first thing, of course, they look at it lah. All right. So once they look at it, they would judge that person based on that person, how you do. Oh, this person, muka, face like this, I think suitable to do accounting. Cannot. They just skip like that only, So to me, if the job or rather if the vacancy doesn't require you to include any photo, right? Please don't include that. All right. Unless you're pretty or handsome, whatever, right? Can add value, okay, then go ahead. That one no problem. All right. But average people like me, all right, you put it there, look at it, not suitable, and then your opportunity gone. So don't make that mistake. Yeah, you can actually read it from the vacancy advertisement. Most of the vacancy advertisement out there, 80% will not ask you to put in photo. Of course, there are some that ask lah. Then you gotta put lah. That one no choice lah. So it means that you create different versions lah. One with a photo, another one without photo. All right. So that's how to. That's basically the personal information. Yeah. Okay. So once you're done with that, all right, you move to your career profile. Okay, career profile is actually a summary of what you can offer. So when you talk about what you can offer, as I mentioned just now, hiring managers would like to know two things only, which is the hard skills and also the soft skills. So over here, you will need to mention the hard skills and your soft skills. So example, first class accounting graduate with strong knowledge across financial reporting, auditing, as well as regulatory compliance. Okay, so what are the hard skills here? Basically the stuff called financial reporting, auditing, and regulatory compliance. And if you're not in this field, you have no idea what it is, definitely, because this is not your hard skill. So you go and focus on your own hard skills. So if let's say, for example, you're IT grad, all right, right there, first class IT graduate with strong knowledge across coding and programming, server maintenance, as well as computer network servicing, for example. Those are the hard skills that you know. All right. That's basically things that would create the interest, for people to read lah. All right, because what you're sharing what your hard skill is. All right, after that, you talk about your soft skills. All right, possess strong analytical and communication skills coupled with solid teamwork abilities. So what are the soft skills here? Analytical skills, communication skills, and so teamwork skills. And lastly, share a bit about your characteristics. Recognize as a fast learner, eager to assist to make a positive contribution. Hey, a lot of Malaysians, right? They are very scared of this fast learner, the malu-malu one, To me, if you have this skill, or rather not skill, this characteristic, mention it. All right, another one is ability to perform under minimal supervision. If you know this, you can do this, mention it, because these are the things that people are looking for. Don't go and malu-malu. Malu-malu means what? I have it, I don't want to share it so that, I scared later, give me expectation. Problem is, if you don't share it, you do not even have the opportunity. All right. So go and share, your positive traits, and then this is basically you. And then go in there and then share what you mean by that. All right. So by having a strong profile like this, that covers the hard skills, the soft skills, and the characteristics, right? All right. So these are the areas where it's important to make sure that whoever's reading it would read more than 6 seconds, especially the hard skills. Let's say, for example, you're applying for a job involving financial reporting, right? And then you mention the keyword financial reporting there, definitely they're going to put one side and then going to read further later. Because you are hitting the nail, it's a keyword game. Whatever we do in life right now, Google, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, right? It's all about keywords. So if you mention a keyword that matches the vacancy that you're applying, it means that it matches the thing, it create the interest. So in the end of the day, people will want to read further. So rather than go write a resume that talk about all those soft skills, right? Start out with your hard skills first. So that's basically the rule here, the secret here, so called. I've been doing this for a lot of fresh graduates, and most of them, they will go and they recommend their friend to me one. So if it's not working, I don't think they recommend. All right. Okay. So a lot of times, this is one of the key things here that you need to remember. Create a profile with a strong strong message of your hard skills, and also the keywords that's relevant to the job that you're going to apply. So it means what? It means that you need to create different versions. Most of the time it's just a matter of 1 or 2 words, like keywords, and the rest are quite similar already. All right, so that's basically career profile. Start with that. Yeah. All right, you might be wondering, Hans, I read somewhere, right, that you need to put in objectives. To me, objectives is considered old school. Old school means what? Right now you're like, I think millennials. I think you're millennials, right? Those are baby boomer time. Baby boomer is my father's time. Not even Gen X like me. Because what? Objective is something that you want. When you are selling stuff, of course you're selling some benefit that the customer needs. So similarly in your resume, this is your brochure. You need to sell things that the customer, which is the company, needs. So that one is basically your hard skills, soft skills. So stay away from the objectives. To me, there's no value nowadays. All right, just focus on a profile and then share your hard skills and your soft skills. So that we start with that. Okay, after that, is about the education and key knowledge area. All right, why education? Because being a fresh graduate, this is your highest qualification that you have. All right, so we're going to mention that. So how you mention it? So you mention the name of your program, Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in accounting, and your CGPA. All right, CGPA, if it's like good means I mean 3.5 and above lah. Then you mention lah. Anything below that, try not to mention lah, because this number is the second thing that people screen. First one is basically the photo. They look at it, whether it's good looking or not. All right. The second one is basically this number. Number of what? Okay. Whether it's good number or not. So to me, if you're getting like probably 3.3, 3.1, even 2.7, take it out lah. No worries, man. If they don't ask for it, don't go and share it. Because a lot of companies, when they hire, they want to hire someone who is able to support, their work and everything. And it doesn't mean that when you have a low CGPA, they don't give you opportunity. It's all about how you can convince them in the interview. But to me, if you put it in there without them asking you, my worry is you would lose the opportunity. You don't even get the opportunity to interview at all. All right, so remember this CGPA. If it's good, meaning 3.5 and above, then you include. Anything less than that, try to keep it first. Unless the vacancy asks for it, then no choice. All right, okay. After that is basically the university. All right, University Malaya, University Putra Malaysia. All right, and then year of graduation. And if you have diploma, you've been to you have a diploma, you went for diploma, you can also include under the bachelor, or you go for master degree, you put it on top of the bachelor. So there's a hierarchy to this, yeah. So follow which one. If that's just bachelor, then just bachelor there. Anything lower than that, all right, lower than diploma, which is like, for example, the foundation, A-level, SPM, CPM, all these things, there's no need for it already. Because what? You're moving towards the corporate world. Corporate world only recognize a bachelor or diploma. The rest are not recognized because those are actually for you to bring yourself into tertiary education to get your program, the degree program only. So you cannot basically get a job with the A-level. Unless you're looking for factory worker, factory worker. If you're factory worker, then you put SPM. You put A-level also, factory worker cannot work, because it's not recognized. All right. So there's the function of A-level, even matrix or even foundation is to bring you to the actual degree or diploma. All right, so that's basically the way to include the education information. All right, after that, all right, this is very important, is to list down your key knowledge area. Key knowledge areas are basically the subjects that you have learned. So what are the subjects that you learned? Okay, you list them all down. To me, list between 8 to 10. Over here is 8, right? 8 to 10 that is relevant. Most of the time, it comes from your last two semesters. All right, the last two semesters are usually the time where you learn all these subjects that's relevant to the industry. Yeah, the first 2 years, which is foundation, right? All these mathematics, statistics is no use one. It's basically a foundation towards the ones that is useful, which is the accounting, management, accounting, auditing stuff. All right, so list them all down. And when you list them all down, don't just simply list it. All right, always find out what are the requirements of the job that you want to apply, and then you rearrange it accordingly. So over here, for example, the job requires it's relevant to financial reporting and financial accounting. Okay, then you put it financial accounting at the top left. But let's say, for example, you're talking about audit and tax. All right, then you need to probably move auditing and assurance to number 1, and then income tax law to number 2. 2 meaning on the left, All right, so that's basically things that you need to tailor. All right, of course, different job requires different things, so you tailor it. The tailoring only requires probably 1 or 2 movements only. Similarly with the career profile. This will allow people, hiring managers, to read the most relevant information first. All right, so that's basically what we're trying to tell them. I'm good in this. I have this knowledge. So compared to other candidates that doesn't mention this, you stand out because these are the things that hard skills I'm looking for. You have it, you mention it. Okay, I'm going to call you up for the interview. So that's basically the way to capture their attention within the first 6 seconds and beyond. So that's basically education and key knowledge area. Okay, all right. So I mean, you've got question, whatever, write it somewhere later. At the Q&A stage, I can provide more information like we have questions. Yeah. All right. So moving along would be the working experience. All right. So working experience is, as I mentioned just now, two things. It could be your internship. It could be your part-time jobs. Yeah. Most of the time, these two only covers lah. Unless, all right, you already been working before you're working first, then only you study. I'm not sure how many of you here, but most of the time, it's basically study first then work because it's more difficult the other way around. All right. So if you're working, you're studying, then you're working. Okay, this is how we do it, and how you mention it. So mention the name of the company, and then the duration, and also the position that you held. So position means like, for example, practical training, trainee, industrial training. That's usually the words lah. All right. So after that, mention what your function is. So meaning what? Meaning is you write as detailed as possible what you're doing there. All right. Because what? This is to ensure that you share what you have done before, and when you share, it means that you have ask you, I hire you, and then you can basically do the function with minimal training, right? Because you already done it before. So that's basically the whole reason. So mention as much as possible. Don't just write there, DRB HiCom trainee, duration, that's it. You don't mention any job scope. To me, when you do that, it's a waste of opportunity. Because this is where you need to sell yourself. Sell yourself meaning what you have done. And when mentioning what you have done, meaning that you can do the same thing for them as well. All right. So that's basically how you need to write it. Of course, after that, you can write your part-time jobs, for example, sushi, frontline service crew. So you mentioned, some people come to me, Hans, let's say, for example, I'm looking for accounting job, but this is service crew. This is nothing to do accounting. To me, leave it there, because what? It shows that besides your internship, you also have part-time jobs, and when you have part-time jobs, you learn another role, you can get another experience. Because talk about service crew is about dealing with people. All right, these are things that you don't really usually get, you see. So mention it. To me, there's no harm of mentioning more, because what? Working experience at your level, it doesn't matter if it's part-time or full-time, because a lot of time is being a student, your full-time job is to study. Most of the time, they will welcome all these things. All right, so share as much as possible. The issue right now is for someone who has never worked before. All right, let's say, for example, Hans, I never worked before. So how? All right, so number one, if you have never worked before, you've still got time, meaning before you complete your studies, right, you still got another month or two, go out there and go and get a part-time job. All right, at least you work 1 week, 2 weeks, at least, you got something to write there. You have worked before, right? Because if you don't do this, your value, compared to other candidates, will drop, if you do not have working experience, yeah. So be careful on that. So go and find. It could be as easy as, a weekend in Lao Yat, they have what they call that, IT fair there. You go there and then pass flyers only. Still working and people pay you a fee. So when you pass flyers, you learn a lot about what they call retail, about customer service and everything. It doesn't matter, as long as you have worked before. All right. So that's basically if you do not have experience. And sometimes also I have participants come back to me, Hans, let's say for example, I work with my company, with my family's business. How can I write or not? To me, yes, you can. All right, but how do you write it? Let's say, for example, this person, the family business is selling nasi lemak, for example. How do you write nasi lemak here? You cannot be saying just nasi lemak seller, right? It sounds so crude. All right. So what you need to do is you go and find out, what it mean, if is the company registered or not. If let's say there's no registration, doesn't matter. What's the name of the stall? It could be Mama's Nasi Lemak, for example. Then you put there, instead of the Haikom Berhad, put in there Mama's Nasi Lemak. And then, the duration when you start helping. And then what's your position? Then you write there, operation assistant. When you bungkus the Nasi Lemak, right, it's actually your operation, You notice, people having put everything there and then they bungkus for you. It's the same operation as you go into the factory. It's just that the steps is different only. All right, so you put it there, operation assistant in bracket part-time, and then you write in there what you do in selling nasi lemak. That's how to write things. And also sometimes participants come to me, Han, if let's say I'm running my own business, Facebook business, can I write or not? Yes, you can write, but be careful, yeah. When you write your own company, don't go and write there, managing director lah, owner lah, all these things that say that you own that company, right? Don't use that kind of title, because when you use that kind of title, a lot of HR people is thinking, since you're already owning your own company, why you want to work with me? You see, that's the problem, yeah. So if you own your own company, when you want to, basically it's a part-time company, so you want to apply for a job, change your title. Title could be like operation assistant, marketing assistant, whatever it is. Your own company, right? Give yourself an assistant title, so that it makes it easier for you to get into the job. You don't want to go in there and then tell your owner whatever it's. People don't need to know. All right, same thing, yeah. The difference is basically the title and also the job scope. So that's basically how to write working experience, lah. That we're covered. So if you feel that you have a unique situation, all right, please remember right now, okay, later in the Q&A, I want you to point it out, then I can help you solve, lah. But most of the time you don't have unique situations, lah. The most recent one, I work with a client, right? This person is doing his own stock exchange trading for the past, I think, 20 years already. So he's like saying, I got good money and everything. I want to write a resume. So how can do it? The first thing that you need to, I tell him that the first thing that you need to write is need to consider is your position. What sort of position you want to give yourself. So he's like saying, I'm already that high already. I want to have a high level position. Yeah, can. But don't go as high as, owner. When you are like owner, right, you're going to apply for a job, nobody's going to hire you. Go one step or two level lower. From the owner, become manager become executive. So you want to put yourself executive, yeah, go ahead. So that it allows you to apply for jobs that is within that level. All right, so that's basically working experience. So if you don't have it, go and find it. All right, make sure you have it. Okay, so that's basically working experience. So we're done with that. Okay, then you gotta go through the research project. Research projects are usually the final year project, FYP. So how you write it? Okay, basically you need to write the title. All right, over here is basically usage pattern and satisfaction between Islamic and conventional credit card users. All right, after that, what is important is the steps that you have taken to run this project. So I don't want you to explain, in detail, in terms of the abstract, why you do all this, you don't need. What is important is the steps. So when you talk about research project, either, you do a survey, or if you're in science, technical stuff, right? You would do a, it's not what they call it. It's not survey. The other one is basically a engineering, like creating something. All right. And if you're laboratory, you're doing experiments. So those are the three things that usually covered already. So make sure when you write the bullets, all right, talk about the steps that you have done. And lastly, at the end there, write the findings. All right. Findings means, right, have you any conclusion or not? So make sure you have that. Else it's like hanging, not completed yet. All right. So that's basically final year project. And why is it important? All right. So I work with clients who are from engineering background. Yeah. So students, engineering, mechanical, electrical, whatever it is. All right. So when you apply for jobs, especially in like Shell, Petronas, all these oil and gas giants, right? What they're looking for, right, is mostly on the research project. They want to see what sort of research you do, So if in the kind of field of study, make sure you have a strong explanation, of your research project. It's not about how good your research is. It's about how good you run your research. Means that what are the tools that you use? What are the analyses that you've done? Those are the important things. All right. So always remember, all right, this is research project is one of the key things here that you need to have. And let's say, for example, Hans, my course, I don't have FYP. I'm sure UPM in there, everything got FYP one. They are issue. Sometimes a participant come to me, Hans, I got no research. My FYP is basically doing internship only. All right. So in that case, what you need to do is you go down one level, find out, what are the projects that you have done for for any subjects that would allow you to use a lot of tools, use a lot of analysis, whatever, right? And then you mention that. Right. So that's basically another way to talk about research. All right. So that's basically that. So if you notice on the left-hand side of the page, is all about hard skills. Hard skills is basically education related, experience related. Yeah. So this is how we present information. When we present information, you got to start out with your hard skill first. All right. Because when people hire, they hire hard skills first. Then only they look at the soft skill. Both of them must be there. It's just that we need to share hard skills first. Yeah. All right. So that's basically what you're seeing here. So moving on the second page is basically extracurricular volunteering activities. This is where the hard skill is. All right. So how you present extracurricular is basically talking about the position and also the association or event that you're in. So for example, MC of Accounting Club's Night, year of participation 2022. So what you do as a MC, you provide the voice for the night, ensuring a successful event. So that's basically a function. So when people read this, they know that you are good in MCing, definitely you're good in communication. Right? So that's how they derive that conclusion in terms of the soft skills. All right. So let's say, for example, you are the president of the communication club, for example. Being a president of the communication, what do you do? All right. You plan and organize various events to increase the level of competency, English competency, competency. I mean, probably bahasa competencies among your participants. So it means what? When you say that you're able to lead, you're able to organize. Those are two soft skills, leading and planning. So that's how you can share that. And why, companies want what they call it, candidates that have good studies and so active in extracurricular, because they want a balance. Because if you do not have this balance, a lot of time it's mostly on research stuff. Yeah, if you're looking for a job that is relevant to research, then okay. Talking about hard skill fan already, don't need to talk about extracurricular. But if we are looking for normal jobs out there, the normal ones, they need to have both one. So again, if you do not have extracurricular, haven't done any extracurricular before until today, all right? So you got another month, go and volunteer for something, all right? So that at least you can populate this with something. All right, so this is basically extracurricular. Extracurricular is activities that is performed inside the university. Yeah? There's also activities that are performed outside the university. Okay, those are we call volunteering. So what are volunteering? For example, you successful raise 20,000 for a children home or volunteer for Mercy Refugee Clinic. Okay, so this is basically things that is done outside, organized by someone outside the university, and then you go and participate. Okay, that's considered volunteering. All right, even for example, you volunteer to clean the crocodiles den, for example, in Zoo Negara. I did that last time. When I did that, when you're cleaning, you do your cleaning, right? You always look and then turn your back and then take a look at it. Is the crocodile coming out or not? You spend 2 hours doing that and then keep on turning your head. Damn scary one, So that's basically example. You can. There's many things you can do, When you volunteer, right? Don't just volunteer and do the job. All right. Go beyond that. Beyond that means what? Build bridge. Because what? Build bridge meanings get to know who is in charge and build a relationship with them. Because not say just Malaysia, the whole world is know who. Know who is more important than know how. If you notice, I know this fella, okay, go, you can work already. So that's basically that. So how do you maximize volunteering? Of course, it's good for your resume, but on the other hand, you need to build your network from there. So that's basically volunteer. And volunteering doesn't have to be volunteering on physical work. Let's say for example, you're accounting graduate, right? You volunteer to do account for a children's home. Okay, what? You're practicing your skills and help people as well. So that's, to me, is a very good example of hard skills and soft skills mixing together. But I can tell you a lot. I've never seen this, seriously. Writing so many years, right? Never, for example, HR grad go and do HR, the volunteer do HR work in some homes. Never. Or even IT, for example, they volunteer at some home and then do that. Most of the time, it's something irrelevant. But if you have the opportunity, go and do that. It will be very good for your resume. All right. So extracurricular and volunteering. Okay. Sometimes, when I do, not say sometimes, most of the time when I do my workshops, right, physical workshops, participants will come to me. They raise their hand, Hans, I have a problem. You're mentioning just now, for those who have never have extracurricular, you go and do it, right? What about me? I'm very active. I have like every year 2 to 4 extracurricular things that I've done. How do I present the information? Okay, so most of the time when you talk about having a lot of extracurricular activities, right, there are two ways of presenting it. The first one is through reverse chronological method, which is talking about the year of participation. So it means right, at the top there is all 2022 and then 2021 and then 2020, for example. So followed by the year lah. Or you can talk about seniority. Seniority means that, you talk about your time as a president first. That president of the communication club was back in 2021. Then you put at the top. Then after that, MC 2022. That kind of way you can present the information like that. All right. So that's a way to do that. And if you really have a lot, all right, sometimes you need to trim really. You cannot include everything because for a fresh graduate, your resume shouldn't be more than 2 pages. If it's more than that, it would create impression that there's too many things to read. They don't want to read one. So try to keep everything within 2 pages. So if you put in everything in already and it's more than 2 pages, then you gotta find out what to remove. Most of the time is to remove probably those old extracurricular activities like probably back in 2021 or even 2021 because that's too far back already. All right, so you can remove those things lah. And bear in mind also when you talk about extracurricular, keep it in the information, right? Keep it within the university years only. So whatever you do in sekolah menengah, sekolah rendah, all these are not relevant anymore. All right, don't go and include it unless really Hans, I've got no opportunity. I don't drive a car here. I got what they call that transport issue in UP. I can go and do all these things. No choice. Every day I go to class, I balik, I do my thing only. Okay, then no choice lah. I have to do that lah. But again, like if you have the choice, go and spend a week or two and just do one event. Just participate in one event also can. Participant. All right, you notice there's no participant because what participants are basically you do not learn much about all these soft skills as a participant. It's like, for example, I've always asked this question: which is harder, organizing a marathon or participating in a marathon? Definitely, all will say organizing because organizing is the one that you gain a lot of experience. So if you have choice, all right, talk about those things that you organize or being part of the organizing committee. Participant, leave it out. But if you got no choice, then you participant. All right. So that's basically that. And also, I'm not sure, all 72 of you, anyone is considered yourself as an athlete. Athlete meaning you're good in badminton, football, that's the two major one. Probably athletics, running here and there, right? Pusing. All right. So that's basically, another thing that you can write there. And if you won anything, right, at least third place, I'm won number 4 Takira. All right. Third place, winning the third place in any competition, you can write in there. It's fine. All right. Because it shows that, you are athlete. So this is the things that you can write under extracurricular and volunteering. And if I miss out anything later, in the Q&A, you ask. I'm not sure. All of you have your own story one. So the more question you ask, the more we learn. Okay, so that's basically extracurricular. Then, you need to go to a section called skills and strengths. Okay, this is where we summarize the top 3 soft skills that you have. All right, don't just write that communication skill, analytical skill, teamwork skills. I've seen this a lot of time. All right, no point of just mentioning. You need to justify and then explain to them, why you said you have that. So for example here, communication skills, facilitate communication between members within the organizing committee and proactive when on stage become an MC. Definitely when they see that thing, it knows that you're good communication skill because as an MC, you have above average communication skill. Definitely for those who are not good in communicating, they will not go and they're going to volunteer become MC, and I can tell you that. All right, so that's basically that. Second is the analytical skill. For example, demonstrated solid abilities in performing in-depth analysis of financial statements. So it's analysis and also teamwork. When you talk about teamwork, it's about working within the team, towards achieving a common goal. So those are 3 examples. I can also give you, for example, leadership skills. Able to lead the team towards achieving a common goal, for example. That's teamwork. And that's leadership. Problem solving, able to analyze and conceive or come up with cost-effective solutions to complex issues. So those are examples. So you can write, those few, but make sure it's 3, don't go too many. When you go too many, it dilutes the strength really. You write too many, they look at it, you have everything, it doesn't mean anything, but you have at least 3 things, okay, these are the strong things, then you write. Of course, it depends on the job. If you feel that the job requires more planning, then you take planning, you take teamwork out, you put planning in, you can do that as well. It depends on the job. All right, so that's basically skills and strength. And then talk about some skill, your IT skills, for example, MS Office is there, UBS, SAP, for example, you know all these software tools, you can write it there. And then languages, excellent English, excellent Malay, excellent Tamil, you want to. All right, depends on your ability. If you know any foreign language, French, Korean, now K-pop, everyday K-pop, can sing the whole K-pop song, then you know what it is. You can pronounce Korean, then write it there. That's the best way to learn, actually. You listen to it every day, you know what a word, then you can probably pronounce it really. All right, so that's basically language skills. So again, these are a way to summarize it. And some people like to put in, their fluency, how good they are in writing and verbal communication and written communication. It's up to you. To me, I use one word, excellent, covers everything. Really. Some people want to put number 9, number 8. It's up to you. I'm fine with it. Yeah. All right. So that's basically, the information that all of you must have. From your personal information, from your career profile, and then from your education, and then to the working experience, research, extracurricular skills and strengths. So those are the areas that all of you must have. All right. Okay. The other 2 bottom here, which is awards and recognition, is optional. Optional means that if you have it, you include it. For number 1 is awards, of course. So what are the awards? Awards are like, for example, you win Dean List. So I'm not sure, I'm not sure whether this Dean List is UPM. I think got Anugerah Dekan. All right. So if you win more than like 4, right? 4 or 5, right? You can put it in there. If you win just 1 or 2, very average lah. You got something else, then you put it in lah. And also, if you want anything like, for example, best what they call that, best student in this particular subject, right? You can do it in. Yeah, it means that you're really good in a particular subject. But if you're like me, during my studies, I also don't have all these things. All right, just keep it. There's no harm one, because these are, if you have it, you want it. And if you have if you're studying in UPM with a scholarship from JPA or whoever, right, you can put it there, because scholarship shows that you are above average. So you can put it there if you have the scholarship information. All right, so that's basically awards. And lastly is basically preferences and references. Okay, this to me is optional as well. But to me, when you talk about salary, right, best not to include. I put it here because just in case there's a vacancy asking you to include. Yeah. All right. So when you put a salary, they will look at the number, and anything higher, anything lower got a problem also. So best don't include anything about salary. Go to the interview and then you negotiate and talk about it there. And also when you talk about references, there's no need to include references in the resume. Because what? They're not going to call them. Most of the time is after they interview you, then they will call them. And definitely, when you go for an interview, right, they ask you to fill out a form 1, the company form. So under the form, they're going to ask for referees one. So fill it there, you don't need to include all these things, right? Because there's this impression when you put in references, it's too old school already. So try to be modern. All right. So that's basically the fundamentals of a resume for fresh graduate. So when you start working already, this is not useful already. It's become something else. All right. So this is fresh graduate. So if you got any question, all right, write it down somewhere. All right. Keep it in mind. I don't know whether you can tahan or not 2-3 hours in your mind. Write it out somewhere later, during the Q&A. Okay, share it with me, and then so that I try to answer it, try to solve your problem. Most of the time I've seen mostly already, not much one. Okay, so that's basically that, yeah. Okay, so moving along is some fundamentals, which is the mechanics and rule of writing. All right, so what are the rules of writing? There are a couple of it. First thing is the type of English that you want to use. All right, so there are 2 types of English available out there. Okay, the first one is the UK English, the second one is the US English. It's like, English, why got two English? Yes, there's two English. So the difference is basically in the what they call it, spelling. So let's say, for example, words like, for example, analyze, right? For UK is ANALYSE, whereas English, US is ZE. So that's the difference there. So if you when you write, you need to select, most of it, either UK or US. Like myself, I'm US certified. I'm so used of writing using Z one. But if you're like always using UK, then go ahead UK lah. The problem is when you mix it up. Then got a problem. Why you say got mixed up, got problem? Because right now a lot of companies are using ATS system, applicant tracking system. It's AI to scan resume before you reach the human. So let's say, for example, you're one vacancy, 800 people apply. If a company use a human to screen out all 800, it's a waste of time only. So what they do is they have all this HR software. Okay, one of it is ATS system. This ATS system will go and screen for them. So when you use this kind of mix up in English or UK, US, right, you're going to have a very low score. So when you get a very low score, your resume is not going to be on the first page, probably in page 10 or whatever. Then you have problems already. So always be careful on that. Yeah. Right, that's ATS system. All right, next will be line spacing. I point this out because I've seen a lot of resumes that is too close or too wide or anything. So make sure line spacing is consistent, meaning if you are spacing between the career profile and also the education is two lines. Make sure education and working experience is also two lines, and go and so forth, so that it will look more professional. All right, so that's basically in terms like line spacing. And then in terms of font types, okay, these are the three types that I usually use. All right, number one is the Times, Garamond, and Calibri. All right, so these are all usually sans serif. Sans serif are easier to scan for ATS systems. Right, and you might ask, what about the size? Okay, the size should be between 10 to 12. All right, anything lower than 10 is too small, people cannot read. Anything bigger than 12 also is too big. It's a waste of your space. And make sure you avoid bolding and caps locking entire paragraph. When you do that, it shows that when you bold the whole thing, right, nobody can see what you bold. Right? So when you bold 2 or 3 words. When use caps locking for your title, make sure 2 to 3 words as well. All right, don't go and caps lock everything. All right, and lastly is basically ensure conformity throughout the resume. So what's conformity? If you look at the bullets that you use, right, if it's solid black solid like this, round, all right, make sure every single one bullet that you use is same. All right, you don't want to be like, one is square, another one is triangle, another one is diamond, it looks so weird. All right, when you use a diamond, everything is diamond. When you use a square, everything is square. And make sure it's solid. Solid meaning that it's not the circle or outline of the square. Those kind of bullets have problems with ATS systems. All right. So these are basically some fundamentals of mechanics. So you got any question about certain things about what sort of others I don't know you can ask in terms of the paper. Most of the time this covered already. Yeah. Okay. So moving along. Okay, we're done with the fundamentals. Yeah. All right. So when we talk about fundamentals, it's just about content. All right. So there's a saying design of a resume, a good design a resume catches the eye, but the content gets you the interview. So that's why I start with the content first. The most important thing is the content. Sometimes design not so good also, but content is good, you get the resume, the interview. But when you talk about design, all right, there are a couple of things that there are 5 criteria that I've observed throughout my career, writing career, that I can share with you so that you can use it together to make sure you have a good design. Number 1 is basically the balance of white space and words. It means that there's balance it's not too wordy, it's not too spacey, all right, so that it's easy for people to read. Okay. Number 2 is easily identifiable sections. Make sure each of the sections available, people can find, because when you talk about sections, it also has to do something with the ATS system. If you go and write the section name is something different, right? Let's say, for example, a working experience, you go and write that professional journey, for example. It's something that ATS system doesn't recognize. They don't put it as working experience. Then they don't scan it as working experience. Then you can know. All right. So that's basically the information. All right. So moving along would be no borders or fancy background. All right. So it means that if you have borders or fancy background, most of majority people don't like it. Okay, this is actually something that comes from my own experience. When I write, I will always propose design. I can tell you during my early days, I proposed a lot of design with borders one. And a lot of time, 80% of those customers will come back to me, Hans, can you give something that is no borders? I don't like it. So meaning, these people who are actually job seekers would eventually become hiring managers themselves. So if they don't like borders, so when they get their own, resumes from whoever wants to apply for a job, right, they also don't like the borders in that resume. So I come to the conclusion that it is best, not to have borders. And when you talk about fancy background, it depends on what you do. If you're doing graphics, media related, fun stuff, okay, it's good to have fancy background. But you're in serious thing, like for example, IT, in HR, accounting, engineering, and all these jobs, right? Government, whatever, right? Usually there's no need for fancy background. They look at it, my mind only. So they reject you, So always be careful. I'm not sure, all 71 of you, what sort of what they call that courses that you are taking. If you're in media, you're in what they call that graphics, is fine. For those who are not better, don't have all these fancy background. All right. Okay. Moving along would be minimal use of tables. All right. Again, it's something to do with ATS systems. ATS system have problems reading information in tables. So if you, let's say, for example, you go and create a resume, use tables, use text box and everything, right? Whatever you write in those tables and text boxes, this system cannot scan. If it cannot scan, it means that your resume is kosong, So cannot kosong, definitely reject. So that's the problem. So always be careful. Try to minimize it. Like me, I don't use it at all. Because when you use it, whatever you write there, unless it's information that is irrelevant, it's not really important one. Or already information was already shared somewhere else in that resume. You just want to put it there for the human look only. Then you can do that. Okay, and lastly, is basically effective use of space, meaning that whatever space available in the resume, you use it up in an effective way. There's no spaces that is empty or whatever it is. All right, so let's look at an example here. Okay, this is an example. So the first criteria is there's a balance between white spaces and words. Definitely yes, because what, your eyes look at it, you can read it, it's not heavy on your eyes. It's something that is easily read. So that's the first criteria. Second criteria is the easily identifiable sections. You can look at it, the working experience there, education there, it's all very clear. The third one is basically the borders. All right, there's no border because that's basically the edge of the paper. And then number 4 is tables. All right, there's no tables. All right, you might be asking, skills and expertise, Hans, how to do that, without using tables. Well, actually, they can use it, do it with what they call that, columns. You select the area and then you write in 3 columns, and then you can get this. It's not a problem. All right, and then lastly is basically the effective use of space. All right, every single area are mostly used up. So that's important. All right, so this is basically when we talk about layout. Of course, out there's a lot of other designs and everything. To me, go and use it. Yes, you can use color as well. All right, but don't rainbow color. All right, rainbow color is Darjah 1 or kindergarten. I have a lot. My children always rainbow color only right now. When they get older, then it becomes a single color. So go and get single color. Either it's blue or gray is fine. 2 color, blue, gray. Yeah. And try to avoid yellow and orange. Orange is still okay. Yellow is very bad. Some people like gold. How you can get gold? Yeah, you can get the brownish yellow, and then that's gold. So when you talk color, different people have different tastes. Sometimes I work with clients, right? They will always ask certain color. After they come out, don't like, they change. Takes a long time. Just color only, but the content is fine. So I ask them, create different versions, no worry one. So it depends on your own taste. Another thing is graphs. I'm not sure. Like, you've seen infographic resume. Infographic resume is a resume with a lot of charts and everything and stuff like that. I can tell you when you create one, most of the time they use text box one. So when you use text box to create it, ATS system reject first. Definitely you cannot pass through number one, unless you know someone in the company, then you send direct, okay lah. They pass through the ATS. So that's why, I don't know, how many of you have connections lah. Most of us don't have connections lah. That's how life is lah. Yeah. So if you don't have connections, do the general things. Yeah, the majority things. Stay away from all these graphs and charts and everything. All right. So this is basically selecting the right layout. Okay. Any question? Okay. Write it somewhere. Okay. Later during the Q&A, I'm going to try to answer it. Okay. So the last part of it is basically the cover letter. All right, cover letter, what we need to talk about. Okay, so when you talk about cover letter, right, it's actually a document sent to the hiring manager to convey your interest. What's your intention? All right, if you look at the resume itself, it didn't mention anything about what sort of job you want to apply. It only mentioned about hard skills and soft skills that you have. All right, so that function of telling, I want to apply for this job falls under the cover letter. And most of the time, it depends, 50% will ask for it, 50% will not ask for it. So it depends on the HR people. Some people they want it, some people they don't want it. So, but as a job seeker, just prepare one just in case. So what do you need to prepare? All right. So this is basically an example of a cover letter. If you look at it, it's not lengthy. Why is it not lengthy? Because this is applying for a job. But if you're applying for scholarship, applying for master degree, that's very lengthy because they want a lot of things from there. That's university. But for the corporate world, it's very, very short, usually between 4 to 5 what they call that, paragraphs only. All right. So start out with the top, basically the name of your name, your contact and everything, and then the date, and also the addressee. Addressee is basically who you're sending this to. All right. If possible, find out the name of that person. So how do you find out? It's basically call up lah. How you call up? Take the number, call. I know I'm applying for this job, and I know who is in charge of this department. Let's say, for example, I'm applying for finance executive, right? So you call up the office, right? The receptionist pick up. Oh, I'm trying to apply for this job, okay? Finance executive. May I know the name of the finance manager? I want to write a cover letter for the name. They tell you one, definitely lah. So if let's say, for example, they say cannot have, I don't think they say cannot have one lah. Because what? You're applying for a job, a lot of time people don't even call for that. So they will probably applaud you for your bravery. A lot of people are scared, I can tell you. Myself is scared. I'm not talking about it. Myself during your time, scared like hell. Don't need to, when you try to talk to other people, you're scared. But again, you work and work and work, and then you change that. That's how it is to get mature. So go and call up the office and then find out the name of the finance manager. Okay, they tell you already, okay, that's Mr. Ragesh. Okay, write that Mr. Ragesh. Because what? I don't want you to write a cover letter that mentions to whom it may concern. To whom it may concern, means what? If that person is not concerned, that's not addressed to that person, So it means that the whole company is not concerned, then addressed to who? You see, that's the problem, yeah. So the name Ragesh, by hook or by crook, that person is Ragesh, he needs to read it. Okay. So write the name and then the ABC company, and then application for finance executive. I don't want you to write application for any position in your company. I can tell you when you do that, 99% fail. Because what? You yourself have no idea what to apply for. Nobody in the company can help you do that one, because they have no time. There's so many other candidates out there that are so direct of what they want. They target what they want. They better go to those kind of candidates rather than go to you that have no idea what it is. All right. So make sure you know what you want. At least, application for a position in the finance department, for example. At least, it goes to the finance department. Okay. So that's basically in terms of the title. Yeah. Okay, then you move on to the first paragraph. Okay, having completed my Bachelor of Commerce major in accounting, I'm seeking the opportunity to effectively use my talents and expertise in the areas of finance management and accounting. Okay, what I want to point out is whatever in front here, I call it bahasa bunga. You can go online and find out one. But what's important is the keyword. Keyword of what? Finance and management and accounting. So you're applying for those functions, you make sure the keyword is there. Let's say, for example, you are in IT, you want to do IT executive. So the vacancy requires that person to do programming. Then what you need to do is you need to change it to in the areas of programming and coding as well as debugging testing, for example. So it is something that's relevant to the vacancy. The keyword must match. That's how to match lah, you know. So from there, okay, you write the first paragraph, the second paragraph, which is after thoroughly reading through the job scope, blah blah blah. I believe I possess the required knowledge, blah blah blah. Okay, as I'm well versed in the subject of financial accounting, management accounting, as well as auditing and assurance. If you notice, these are basically the core subjects under the education and core subject section, the key knowledge area section in the resume. Use that because what? This is already something that you have studied, all right? You have knowledge in, and it's relevant to the job you want to apply. Mention this, all right? Don't go in there and then just tell soft skill character already. It doesn't work. You got to mention hard skills. People hire you for your hard skills, which is your knowledge. Meaning what? If you're studying finance, you can only do finance work. They cannot hire someone who is studying HR to do finance work. Definitely cannot. One. So you need to sell that to them in that thing. All right, so that's basically hard skills. And then as usual, after that, I talk about the soft skills. Throughout my studies, I've been actively involved in blah, blah, blah. Through these activities, I have gained tremendous amount of experience in communication, teamwork, analysis. All right, and then close it up with something to do with your characteristics. Furthermore, I'm recognized as a fast learner and demonstrated the desire to go the extra mile in achieving set target. So in view of that, I will welcome a privilege of speaking with you in a formal interview. That's it. All right, and then sign off lah. And there's no need to put your signature nowadays. There's no need to do that because it's all on online already, digital. Some people put a digital sign. Okay, go ahead. To me, it's fine. But if you don't have it, also it's fine. All right, so that's basically the cover letter. All right, so what you need to do is create, or say not say create, tailor your cover letter to different jobs. So it means that, let's say, for example, you are good in accounting, and then you put one for accounting, another one is audit, then put on audit, another one is tax, then create another one for tax. So for all the jobs that is in that bracket, you just send the same thing only. Yeah, so that's how to maximize the opportunity. You may be asking, why do we do that? Because when people hire, they hire specialists. They want someone who is already good in the area so that you don't need to train. That's the most important thing only. All right, so that's basically in terms of the cover letter. All right, so we're done with this. I would say any question in terms of the cover letter, the resume, whatever. All right, please write it somewhere. Later we go back to at the end of the Q&A, then we work on that. All right, so I think this is the first part already, end of the first part. So back to Isha.
Thank you, Mr. Hans, for the wonderful sharing about resume writing. I'm pretty sure that our participants here would have learned a lot about resume skills as much as I did throughout this first session of the workshop. Now, from this, we can see that your expertise and experience through the quality information that you have received. So, Mr. Hans, that being said, has there been any memorable or unique experience that you have encountered during your 20 years of service? If there is, would you like to share with us?
Okay, you asked me the most telling one. To me, life-changing one is my experience working with during what they call it the GEMS program. Okay, GEMS program is Graduate Employability and Marketability scheme. Yeah, it's actually organized by Talent Corp. That's back in 2016, I think 2015, 2016 time. All right. So what they do is, there's a lot of unemployed graduates. Right now also same lah. Okay. It's a every year problem, the yearly problem. So these unemployed graduates, they have issues in marketing themselves. And I can tell you all this, if you look at their background in terms of the academic performance, very good one. All of them mostly around 3.3 and above. Of course, they don't hit 3.5, but 3.3 is fine. The problem is, they cannot market themselves. So they tried what they call that, applying for jobs, and then they apply, right? After like probably 6 months, 12 months, some even 18 months, didn't get even a single interview, So these are to me very, very kasian students now. Okay, so what we do is during the program, right, we develop a couple of things. I myself is in charge of this resume and also interview. That's basically the part. Whereas there are some other trainers developing their presentation skills, their critical thinking skills, whatever it is. So we work with them and then found out, what are the most telling, what they call that, things that they face. A lot of times is they have no idea, that in life, there are hard skills and soft skills. What they go in there is they tell they can do the work, blah, 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 blah only. Or even in the resume, so they don't specifically write the hard skills. So that's where, from there, I come to realize that a lot of people out there have this issue. They've been learning it, but they don't know how to quantify it. So when people ask them, even not say ask them during interview, when you write your resume, right, they have no idea that these are the very important things that they have. All the while they have, it's just that they don't know how to bring it up. So we work with that. And throughout that particular program, right, it's actually involving, I think, around 900 over students. So it's like a 2-year program. Every single month, there's a new batch that we need work to and everything. Right? So out of it, around 94% really get the job. Yeah, so that experience, is where I take out and then write in the book. So the book that I wrote, it comes from there, actually. So that to me is one of those memorable experiences that life-changing to me as well. I'm all the while I've been just writing. I don't really have any idea, what's happening at the back of them, But again, you ask me, I can tell you almost 90% of the students out there that have no idea what they want in life.
I can
You
relate
ask
to that.
yourself, what do you want to do? I have no idea. So to me, don't go and think so far. Think about the next step only. You're studying. Most of the time studying, you just follow what you study. But once you're in there, I can tell you 50 or 60% feel that whatever they're studying and whatever working, right, is not what they want. It's like, for example, I'm in corporate comm. I study media corporate comm. So when they go into the work, they do corporate comm, this is not something I want. And then they start to soul search again. So they find out another thing, people say sales is good. All right, Hans, can you help me, write a resume? I want to come into sales. Then I'll do my process. So I help them. So they get a job in sales already, for example. So after 5 years in sales, boring. Some people like that one. So what do you want to do next? So they got to have targets. So whatever you do, you need to have at least a target for the next step. It doesn't matter, whether the target is right or wrong. It doesn't matter, because life is a journey. So you learn something along the way. Know people along the way. That's important. Know people. Yeah. So that's basically. So as you go along that, they will come to a point where they feel that okay, they found whatever they want to do already. All right, they stick from there. Yeah. Some are like, most recent one, the Credit Suisse problem. Yeah. So the Credit Suisse banking, right? It happens in Switzerland, I have one client that I already written probably 10 years back, Right now it's 2023, right? 10 years back, 2013, I helped him get into Credit Suisse. Right now he kena, for out of nothing. Malaysia, what they call that branch, is performing one, The problem is the mother company in Switzerland being taken over by UBS, right? So over here in Malaysia, they also UBS Malaysia, right? So you cannot have two companies. So then kena so he will get, definitely when people take over your company, you definitely have to go down reporting to the your same level, right? You're going to report to the guy which is from UBS, which is don't like. So he come back to me again, but he knows what he wants. It is easy, that one. So you never know. But again, all these are things that I work with clients. Yeah, and my way of working with them is like, it's most of the time I help until they get that already, and then let go. Suddenly they come back and then we discuss again, we catch up again, something like that. So that's how I work. Yeah. All right, Isha, back to you.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for the story. And it's quite enjoying for me to hear that from you. And from my side, I feel like it must have been quite inspiring for you to see what's happening in the generation, to have it take it to you and then write a book about it. So thank you so much from your side to share on that part. Now, I'm pretty sure that everyone here must be having a lot of questions and must be eager to ask Mr. a lot of questions. Therefore, without without wasting any more time, there will be a small Q&A session with Mr. Hansto. I would like to open the session for any questions from the floor about the topic that has been covered. Feel free to switch on your mic, or you can even type your questions in the chat box. Okay, so apparently we already have our first question for tonight. So the first question would be from Agalia. Hi, sir. Do I need more than one version of my resume?
I mean, definitely yes. When I talk about version, it's not like completely different. It could be like probably 5% difference only. In the end of the day, it's about the keywords. And from my experience, usually there are 3 types only. So it means that, for example, if you're the based on your program or your course that you're studying, right, usually allows you to do two kinds of work. Let's say, for example, if you're taking accounting, it's either you do accounting, which is the corporate one, or just audit. Then you create two type of resume. And sometimes you will need about create another one. Another one meaning what? It's not relevant to accounting or tax. Accounting to audit is something else. Let's say, for example, you want to do customer service, then you can do that as well. So it means they got 3 different versions. So that's to help you. As I mentioned, when people hire, they hire specialists. So in terms of the information, 80% of the time, that resume has to share the information that they're looking for. So if you're talking about accounting, then 80% is accounting, the rest is different. If you're auditing, also same thing. So that's how to do it. All right.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Hart. So moving on to the next question from Nityasri. Okay, this is quite an interesting question. What should we reply if the interviewer asks about overtime?
Okay, so what sort of overtime? I mean, are you able to work overtime? Is that the question?
I believe that is the question that she's posing.
Okay, definitely you said yes. When you say no, having your okay, like this, as an interviewer, right? When I throw question, I cannot be, we're in an interview already. Okay. Anyhow, okay, when I throw question to you, right, I need to ensure that there's no hesitancy that comes up from you. It means that whatever you say, comes like naturally, no problem and everything. So you can't be like overtime, ting, 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 like that. If you do that, it means that you're hesitant already. So when you're hesitant, it means that, if you compare to other candidates, I prefer that candidate which is just open to anything. All right. So anything about preference, try not to create this kind of doubt or hesitancy in your face or whatever, like when you answer question. All right, even though you don't like it, just say yes only. You know why or not? Because in the end of the day, if you say no or I don't think so, whatever, right, you don't get the opportunity. You say yes first, then you get the opportunity, then you think about it, It doesn't matter, they offer you a job, you can still reject them. So be open to all these things. Just say, man, I'm open to overtime, even though you don't want. So that you see what's next thing to progress to. All right. So that's basically to answer that question.
All right, thank you, sir. And I hope that Miss Nityasri, I feel like you've got your answers. So moving on to the next question. Is there any question?
Anything about the resume? Come on. Yeah.
Okay, while waiting for the other questions to come up, I personally have a question to you, Mr. Hutz. So recently, just now you have mentioned that you have seen like how like the current generation having a hard time like realizing their qualities and how like what quality they should put in the resume. So based on your opinion, why do you think that especially in the current generation they're having such hard time about that?
All right. I think it's not just current generation. For the past 20 years, even myself, why I'm here doing this. Back in 2002, right? When I graduate, I'm actually a mechanical engineer. I have a degree in mechanical engineering. All right. I when I write my resume, I don't have any information, So I go online. That time online was all HTML, very squarish and everything. So you go and find out, what sort of information can get online, All right. And apparently there's none. So I was thinking like, there's a gap that I can work on, to become an expert in this. So it's not just your time, throughout the start of days, there's nobody there that tells people, that when people hire, they hire for hard skills and soft skills like that. So to me, it's not just for millennials. It's basically throughout the time that I've worked with. Why? Because there's no awareness. Nobody share all these things. So hopefully, moving forward, and anyhow, even you put videos on so if nobody gonna find it, so there's no way, right? So it depends on what they need. And bearing in mind, job hunting is not something that you need every day, you look for food, every day lunch, dinner, breakfast, that's different thing, Whereas job hunting is once in the blue moon, you get a job and then you senyap already for 2-3 years and then you do it again. So again, awareness, they have no idea what it is. So once they get it, they forget about it. And then after a few years, they want to start job hunting, they forget what to do already. That's how life is. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hans. So there is another, and I believe that this would be our last question from Tango Polya. So the question is it appropriate to add personality test result in the resume?
All right. When you talk about personal test result, I think mostly it's talking about Mayer-Briggs, I think. So Mayer-Briggs is basically talking about what color you are. They have color one. All right. To me, this kind of result is best shared during the interview. All right. Don't bring all these things on paper. As I mentioned, the resume only the function of resume is only to get you the interview. So there's no need to tell everything about yourself on paper. What you need to share, hard skills, soft skills only. So once they're interested, they call you after the interview, then you share all these things. So that's basically talking about the personality test. It's not just this test. Some people got IQ test, aptitude test, that kind of stuff. It's usually after the first interview, then only they will ask you to do this test. Yeah.
All right. With that being the last question, we have reached to the end of this Q&A session tonight. Thank you everyone for those who have sent the question, and most importantly, thank you, Mr. Hans, for giving us a very thorough and detailed answer. Okay. Dear participants, it is already 9:07. Before our second slot begins, let us take a 5-minute break. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone is still with us and eager to continue with our second session of this workshop, which will be about interview skills. Thus, without wasting any more time, I'd like to call upon Hans to again conduct the second session. The floor is yours, sir.
All right, thanks. All right, thanks. Okay, let me share back the screen. Yeah. Let's go to full screen. All right, so we're done with the resume. All right, so before we go to interview, right, interview section, I just want to point out that there are actually many ways for you to apply for jobs. All right, I call it the six channels of job applications. So a lot of times when you don't get, to me, the resume, if you don't get it to the right hands, it doesn't work anyway. So no matter how good you are in writing it, in terms of hard skills, soft skills, and all the experiences that you have, if you write it nicely and everything, but problem is you don't get it in the right hands, you do not even get the opportunity. So I'm probably going to share with you, the six channels of job hunting first, before we really go to the job interview part. All right. So when we talk about the six channels, there are actually six ways for you to apply for jobs. All right. The first way is basically through networking. Networking is basically know who, you make sure that you ask around. It could be your parents, colleagues, or whatever it is, ex-colleagues, whatever, ask around. Because when you ask around, the chances of you, I mean, if let's say there's a job, right? Okay, the chances of you sending it in and then getting the interview is much higher compared to just applying online, because when you talk about asking around, a lot of times there's not much people applying for the same job. All right. So it means that the eyeballs that you have, the airtime that you can get for your resume is much higher. And in the end of the day, when people have more time to read your resume and you do it nicely, they will definitely like what you can offer. And then, of course, it can offer you the interview. So you always remember, the first channel that you need to try is always the networking. Okay, ask around. All right, second one is basically through headhunters. All right, headhunters is basically their job is to find out, or rather they recruit people, talents, to feed the job, the description of the companies that they serve. So most of the time, these people are looking for talents, all right? And if you're in a good talent, they will definitely call you up for the interview. All right, so watch out for that as well. And then the third channel is basically through career fairs. All right, so this year after MCO, there's a lot of career fairs going on, and as a matter of fact, I think later I'll be joining the Star Job Fair. I know most of the time they will be like 3 to 4 times every year, where we offer resume clinics. So if you're in there, you probably can see me and my team. All right. So when you talk about career fairs, the way to a job hunt is basically go there. It's not just to put your resume to them, no. It's basically to go there, get contacts. Basically, who are the people in charge of hiring? Who are the hiring managers and everything? Go there and get the contact, and then send the resume direct to their email. All right. So then you can bypass a lot of stuff. And then when you, it's about the airtime, how much time are people spending on your resume? So if you can get higher chances of that, the chances of you getting interviews much higher. If you do the resume as how I show you. All right. So that's number 3. Number 4 is newspaper. All right. I'm not sure, when's the last time you pick up a newspaper? I think never. Most of the time, I go to workshop, I ask them this question, a lot of say never one. So if you notice, there's also some good quality jobs out in the newspaper. So it means what? If let's say nobody pick it up, you pick it up, you apply. Who's your competition? Basically near zero. So it means that your chances of getting a what they call it, the interview opportunity is much higher. All right, so that's the thing. So go and check it out sometimes. The Star still got, probably 2 to 3 pages of jobs available there. All right, compared to last time during my time, that's the main thing. Right now, everybody move online. All right, the 5th is basically direct to companies. right? So you go to companies like Maxis, Petronas, and everything. There's usually a career tab that you can click on, and then you can deposit your resume lah. And of course, when you talk about this, it's not something that is instant. You know, sometimes they do not have any what they call that opening, but sometimes, you know, after like a year or two, they got opening. Yeah, why not? You know, it's such a big company. You can always get the opportunity later. All right, so that's one. And the last part is basically online. You know, so when you talk about online job hunting, there are a couple of ways to increase your chances. All right, number one is basically when you make any application, try to call up the company to confirm your application. Yeah, so this is like, you know, 700-800 people applying, only maybe one or two call up, and then probably they'll remember you. Then when they look at your when they look for the resume, right, they're going to find yours out of like 700. Then at least your resume have a better airtime than compared to the rest. Yeah. And secondly, try to apply within the first 24 hours of any job application. So it means that when they come out with the job ad, right, within the first 24 hours, you go and apply, because usually they will check it once lah. So a lot of times as a HR people, when they check, if we, let's say for example, within the first 24 hours, there's like probably 6 people applying. Of course, you know, I can spend some time clicking on six resumes, so called, right? Rather than, you know, you apply, you know, after a month, there's 800 people, you know, but no chance for you to get click also. All right, so that's basically, you know, the channels that you need to use lah. All right, so this all comes together one. All right, resume writing, perfecting the document, and then make sure it gets to the right hands. So once it gets to the right hands, okay, this is where we are going to talk about, you know, job interview. You know, they offer you to come for the interview lah. So what you need to do. All right, so this is what we're going to talk about now. All right, so what is actually a job interview? A job interview is actually a conversation, yeah, between two or more people about a job. So when you talk about conversation, it means what? It's a two-way communication. It's not interrogation. You know what's interrogation? Interrogation is you go to police station, they catch you, they ask you question, and you cannot ask back on it. No? So that's the difference. All right. So what does it mean? It means that you go in there, you need to evaluate the interviewer, the potential boss, and also the company also, you know. You don't go in there, you know, it becomes whatever they show me, okay lah, I take. No, it doesn't work that way. What you need to do is you go in there, you understand them, and later when they offer you, then you decide lah. You know, don't go in there and then say things that would cause you to not get the offer. So that's what I mean, yeah. All right, so it's two or more people talking about the job, and definitely you're gonna get nervous. All right, so why do you get nervous? Some people, you know, when I ask this question in workshops, they say, oh, because I'm not prepared, because I don't know what to say, because I'm not very talkative, for example. To me, that's not the reason. The main reason is because that particular job means something to you. You know, when we do things that mean something to us, definitely we'll feel nervous one. All right, so it means that it's something good lah, nervous. All right, so when interviewer asks you, are you nervous or not? You need to say, yeah, I'm a bit nervous. It shows that what you really you're interested in the job lah. You know, you don't want to tell that, are you nervous or not? I'm not really nervous lah. Then it shows that, you know, you don't care. You know? All right, so always be careful like when they ask this question. They will want to test you something like that one. All right, so what hiring managers are looking for during the interview itself? All right, they are looking for a couple of things. All right. The first thing is basically your competency. Competency means your ability to perform the role. So how they do look at it, they're going to ask you like, you know, what sort of experience you have in closing monthly accounts, for example. Then you need to share like, you know, what knowledge that you have, where have you done it, you know, during the internship, you know, share in detail. So let people know, you know, that you have certain skill sets that matches what they're looking for. And the use is like this. So once they know what it is, then only they can know, you know, how much training that they need to give you. So of course, if I want to hire someone who at least 50% lah, you know, know the functions of what I'm looking for. You know, anything less than that, I'll need to train more lah. All right. So if you're like 80% good, you know, it nearer more nearer to the 100% is better. Actually, not really, yeah. All right, because what there's this second criteria, which is the likability. What's likability? Likability is how you know how whether that interviewer like you or not. I can tell you this likability most of the time is the 80% defining factor. So it means that if they like you, even though your abilities is like 50%, they still take you on. If you're 80% abilities, but I don't like you, I still don't take you. So likability is actually your trump card. Meaning what? Even though your skill sets is not so good, but you can make people like you, and then your chances of getting higher is much higher. So what are the things that we can do to make people, to make the hiring managers like you? Later, I'll share with you what we can do to prepare for this. All right. So that's number two. The third thing is basically your ability to work in teams. In teams meaning what? It's not just your finance department team, the whole organization. So they need to ensure that you can be flexible enough. Let's say, for example, sales is not enough person. Can you go down or not? You must show the ability to go down. I got no people around. Can you work overtime or not? Definitely you can go overtime. That's just not a question. Same thing. You got to show your adaptability, your ability to take in more things. I can tell you, a lot of time, whatever job scope that is written in the vacancy, right, is probably that 10% of what you do only. You know what 10% is? That's basically that. There's another 90% of things that they don't tell you because they have no idea what it is. They just want to do it. And make sure, as a fresh graduate, just be flexible and just learn from there. And what you can do is, you trade your time, for the experience. If let's say they mara or whatever, just let it be. It's just professional. And because what, in the end of the day, it's your time. So how much time can you trade for experience? All of us have the same number of time. You wake up in the morning 6 a.m., you sleep at 12 a.m. It's basically that kind of time. So what they're looking for, the third thing is that, to ensure that you will be able to support all of this. So what we need to do is we need to ensure that we can cover the competency part, and then we need to cover that our likability part, and make sure that we are flexible enough. All these basically things that you can do. So later I'm going to show you what you can do, to sort all these things out. All right, so so we move along to the before the interview. So what are the things that we need to prepare before the interview? I always use this thing called the 5 no's. The 5 no's, and not this nose, the nose. All right, the first no is know everything you can about your related strengths. That's basically, your competencies really. So how you do it, you look at the vacancy, every single bullet, make sure that you have a skill set, knowledge, or exposure. Exposure means what? You have seen people doing it before. All right, that is similar, that can match whatever function is needed. Let's say, for example, the first bullet there, the candidate must be able to perform general HR work. Okay, so you general HR work, basically, your degree in HR, what HR work is really. Is basically what they call manpower planning, in terms of the recruitment, in terms of the training, in terms of all this, you have the knowledge, because what, you've studied before. Whether you have the experience or not, that's a different story. Because what, experience is actually knowledge plus practical, then it becomes experience. A lot of us, when we are fresh, we do not have the opportunity to do the practical. That's why it's just knowledge. So you go in there, if you just say you do not have experience, you talk about knowledge. All right. But let's say, for example, you don't even have knowledge, but you have exposure. Exposure means what? You have seen people doing it. Then you go there and tell them, okay, I have no knowledge in that, but I've seen people do it. Maybe if you ask me to do it, I probably can do it because I've seen people doing it. So that's basically what you need to identify. So for every single bullet in the vacancy, you need to mention something about yourself, your strength, to be able to perform that. So it means that for every interview that you went through, you're going to go, all right, you need to write that thing out. So it's actually a job by job preparation. It's not just go in there, buta, relax, go there and answer question. It's not that way. When you do that, the chances is very, very low, I can tell you. All right. So the second thing is basically know everything you can about the company. So what do you need to do this? Because it's to show that you care. All right. If you don't care, you were not going to do that. All right. So what are the things that you need to check out? So go online, find out about their mission and vision, find out about their background of the company, find out their business, what are they selling, product or services, find out about their achievements, find out about their CSRs, Find out anything new about them, that is in the newspaper or whatever. And of course, find something that is positive. Don't go and talk about negative stuff. All right. Let's say, for example, that there's what they call that, a company going lawsuit, whatever, right? They are hiring, you go in there, you ask about a lawsuit. That is an issue. Don't be too frank on that. Go and find things that's positive. Whether you get a job or not, or whether you want to take a job or not, it doesn't matter at this stage. Because what? That stage is basically when they offer. When they offer you, you can reject also. But don't make a mistake at the interview, and then in the end you cannot get the offer. So everything is gone at that time. All right, so go and find know everything you can about the company. And then know everything you can about the job. All right, so just now, bullet by bullet, find the strength, right? So right now, bullet by bullet, understand what's the function. So if you do not know the function, go online and find out. All right. So once you find out, you go to interview, ask the interviewer, on this bullet number 3, actually I have no idea what it is, but I went online and find out, it's about this. All right. Is it correct? The thing that I find, you reconfirm, Don't go to the interview, ask, sir, this bullet number 3, what's the function? It shows the difference of you being proactive and helpful, or someone needs to be spoon-fed. So that's basically the difference. So I've seen people, a lot of those participants in exams, right? They often becomes asking question to the interviewer. Nobody likes that. Same thing, your job, your boss also don't like that one. What I expect from my staff is basically, you come up with the solution, and then ask whether the solution is workable or not. That's how it is. I'll tell you, yeah, I can go. Instead of, boss, how to solve this? It means that you're not working already. You're not doing your job. All right. So same thing. Every single bullet, go and find out everything you can about it, and then reconfirm if you don't know what it is about. And then know everything you can about the interviewer. All right. This is where you create the likability. All right. How do you find out? How do you find out the interviewer? Okay, the first thing is you need to understand, or not say understand, ask lah. When HR invite you for the interview, right? Go ask them, may I know who will be interviewing me? Ask them. So they give you a name one, and then you go online lah. I think all of us, right, have have something online lah. Have you ever searched yourself on Google? Yeah, if you search yourself on Google, there's certain things you can see. Most professional, when you search their name, they will be on LinkedIn. All right, LinkedIn will tell them a bit about their history and everything. Okay, so what we need to find out, when we talk about interview, is 2 things only. Number 1, our commonality. Commonality is what? Are they from? The interviewer, is it from the same hometown? If you're from the same hometown, even better, easy to talk already. Oh, you're from Tapa. I'm also from Tapa. Oh, then you have like a connection already, Then it's much easier to build. Or you're from UPM, or also from UPM. At least you got something already. So that's basically a commonality. That's number 1. Go and find that one. Number 2 is basically find out about their achievements. So achievements, if you see something very nice about them, right? So find an opportunity during the interview. Ask them, do my search of you, sir. All right, I found out that you have achieved this. Can you share with me, how you managed to do that? When you say something like that, it gives the impression that you are someone with detail, And of course, when I achieve something, people ask me about it. I feel good sharing with you, definitely. And definitely I would like you. So that's how to create the likability here. A lot of time it's not just about telling what you can do or not in the job interview. It's about building the relationship. So use these techniques to build the relationship, build the likability, because skill sets, if it's 50%, you can still get the job one. So don't worry. A lot of things you don't know, right? But the people like you, people can give you a chance. So use this opportunity. Yeah, find out about the commonality about you and the interviewer, and also the what they call it, the achievements that they have. All right. So that's number 4. And the last one is basically know the interview location. So if it's a physical one, make sure you be early. How early? Okay, how early is normally it's on 30 minutes. So go in there, get used to the office environment and everything, and then before you start. All right. So that's basically interview location. And best is don't be late. If you're late, also call up the interviewer or rather HR said that, okay, I'm stuck in traffic, whatever it is, or there's a sudden accident, I cannot get out of it. Probably I'll be late in probably in like half an hour or 15 minutes, whatever time, right? But at least you tell them that you are going to see them, because I've seen a lot of times interviewee doesn't show up, 2 o'clock, you wait. 2:30 not here, you call the phone, the phone mati already. Ayo. It's just not one time, many times on, So I think it get worse with the generation. I'm interviewing that time was during 2010s. 2010s, those are probably in the 1990s. And then after that, 2015, I'm interviewing the 2015s one. It get worse, So I'm not sure about you guys lah. Out of like 10 person, mula is basically 2 doesn't show up, become 3, now 4. I think get the worst one lah. But at least you show your commitment lah. Tell them, all right, that you're going to be there. If let's say for example you don't want the job also, call them up. I for the interview today, I think I want to cancel because I already get a new job. That's it. Be courteous to people, because what? This is a skill set that you're going to bring to the next job and next job throughout your life one. So don't become a just senyap like that. In the end, people don't know, and then you bring this negative trait throughout your career. All right, so that's basically the 5 no's. 5 things that you need to prepare. Okay, need to know and prepare. All right, so we move on to the questions on how to prepare for questions. All right, so most of the time when you talk about questions, this is the first question that you're going to ask you. All right, please tell me a bit about yourself. So a lot of times, I'm not saying participants, they have problems telling this because what? They have no idea whether what they say is right or wrong. All right, so what I'm going to share with you is basically a formation called 3-3-1. All right, the first 3 is your 3 personal information. Personal information could be your name, could be your age, could be your state from you're from. Let's say, for example, my name is Hans, I'm 23 this year. Okay, I'm from KL. So this is basically the first 3, right? So share it within the first 5 seconds. After that, you talk about the 3 professional information. In your case, would be your education information. So the second 3 will be, okay, I possess a degree in mechanical engineering from University Technology Malaysia. And during my final year project, I have the opportunity to design a 6-wheel bicycle, for example, all right, that can be ridden by 8 people. All right, sounds. And then after that, during my internship, I have the opportunity to work with Proton, especially in the R&D side, where I learn blah, 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 blah. All right, so these are basically things that you need to share. Yeah? So these are all factual. 3 things about yourself, about your personal life, 3 things about your professional life, which is your studies. Okay, the last one, 3-3-1, 1 is the motivation. All right, motivation of what? Your motivation of working for the industry or working for the company or working for the role. Let's say, for example, you're applying for a job as an accountant in oil and gas, Petronas, for example. All right, so you need to share, I'm really passionate. Let's say talk about the industry. I'm really passionate about the oil and gas industry because I want to contribute towards growing this industry. In the end of the day, it's what drives Malaysia's economy anyway. That's basically you want to contribute to that. Or your passion to work with Petronas. Let's say I'm really passionate to work with Petronas because I believe I would able to contribute my talent skill sets towards ensuring Petronas is the number 1 oil producer in the country. So you tell them that. Or you want to talk about your interest in become accounting. I'm really passionate to do accounting because I want to ensure and ensure the company is achieving the regulatory compliance that they're supposed to be, and then ensure accurate closing of accounts. This at the moment drives me. So it shows that you are interested in doing either the industry, the company, or the job. So that whatever you share here would create a resonance. I don't want you to go in there, share, okay, my name is Hans, I'm 33, I'm from Perak, and then you tell. It's so dry. It doesn't resonate. It doesn't create any interest. So if let's say, for example, there's 10 candidates sharing the same thing, I as an interviewer, tido, I can tell you. All right. So the best thing is at this point, at the end there, share what your passion is, because at least out of 10, I know, someone is passionate about my company, my industry, or that role that I'm offering. right? So that's what you need to create that. All right, even though you're not passionate about it, say something to be passionate about it, lah. All right, that's how interview is, lah. Okay. All right, so that's basically. Please tell me about yourself and answer this within 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. Don't get lengthy. Some people, I think most fresh graduates are not talkative, lah. They do not have things too much to talk about, but some are really a lot of things to share. All right, don't share too much because it's just the start of the interview only. Don't go so deep and everything. Let them ask you, because what? This is a conversation. Conversation means that it has a flow, and then they ask you, and then I can ask them as well if you want to. All right, it's not just one flow. All right, so always remember that. Okay, the next question is they're going to ask you, what do you know about my company? Very easy, because what? You already done your company research. Share the 3 things about them. It could be the products or services, could be their background, could be their mission or vision or the latest achievement. So share that thing in. It's fine, because to just share whatever you found online, it's not a problem. The problem is you don't do any research at all. All right. Last time, when I do the interview, right, they would there's some candidates coming in. What do you know my company? Your company, can you share what you do or not? They ask me back like that, So it gives me the feeling that, number one, you're not ready, and number two, you don't care. If you don't care about my company, for what I want to care about you? You see? So be prepared at least 3 things about them. Okay, then why do you want to work here? Okay, why do you want to work here? All right, again, we talk about want to work here, don't go and share things like, I want to work here because the company is big. I heard that they have a nice coffee bar. You can have what they call that, pool, whatever in the office and everything. A lot of companies offer that already, but you're not there to do that. That's something that you want. Tell them that you want to work to perform the role. How do you know perform? What role do you perform? Look at the vacancy. The vacancy mentioned there, the candidate must perform general HR functions. You tell them, I want to work here because I want to perform general HR functions. All right, this is because, all right, I'm knowledgeable in blah, 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 blah. These are all the skills that you already identified. Share that to support your claim. All right, don't go in there and share things like, I want to, get the benefits or whatever. That one is secondary. Primary is you want to perform the role, because a lot of times candidates, they don't say that. So you don't say that, you know what they want, which is something to do with them. But as an interviewer, I prefer someone who is more concerned about my company. When you go to interview, be a problem solver. Problem solver means what? Whatever they have a problem, you try to solve it. That's important. And it's about you fulfilling their needs first, then only the company can fulfill yours. It's not the other way around. Change the mentality. Okay, moving along. What are your greatest strengths and weaknesses? All right, so I start with strength. Strength, there are 3 things that you can talk about strengths. Number 1 is your skills. My greatest strength is my ability to close accounts. That's skills, or soft. That's hard skills. Sorry. Another one is soft skill. My greatest strength is my great communication skills. All right, or character. My greatest strength is my never say die attitude, for example. Yeah. Then you need to give them an explanation on why you said so, So you can use either one of it, or use all of it if you want to. What about weakness? Okay, weaknesses, you don't share many. All right, you share only one. Most of the time, you share character weakness if you want to. All right, so what are the character weakness? One of my weakness is my ability to say no, for example. Why is it a weakness? Because a lot of times when people come for me to help, I need to help them without saying no. Even though I have so much thing to do already, they come to me, I need to help them. So as a result, all my work got jumbled at the back, and then I need to spend more time doing it. And of course, I'm still trying to improve it. It's something that is easily rectified, and it's not really, what they call that? It has a negative impact on the job. Let's say, for example, you go and tell them, what are my weaknesses? I have weak attention to detail. You're doing accounting, and then you're not detail oriented. Die lah. You know why? When you talk about accounting, you need to be able to look at the numbers, make sure it's detailed and everything. Suddenly you say that you're not detailed, then you have a problem, because detail is a function of the job. So go and find that thing out. Don't have a contradicting weakness that will cause you to lose points, I call it. Same thing, they're applying for a administrative function, right? One of my weaknesses is my ability to plan. And then you have a problem. Because when you talk about administrative function, there's a lot of planning involved, So stay away from all those things. Find something that is what they call it, safer. So that you do not make a mistake. And best is prepare two, share one. Because what? Some interviewer, they like you to ask another one. And if you go and create one on the spot, most of the time you die one. That's the problem. All right, so prepare two, share one. And another thing you cannot say is, I believe I do not have any weaknesses. Where got people don't have weakness one? Even God. That's the kind of level. Tak boleh. It doesn't make sense. And another weakness that you cannot say is, I believe I feel I'm not too serious. One of my weaknesses is I'm not very serious sometimes. So when you say that as an interview are you serious in this interview? Habis lah. Another thing that you cannot say. Yeah? All right, so those are examples. So go and create two, share one. All right, in terms of weaknesses. And then another competency level question is, do you consider yourself as a leader or a follower? All right, most of the time, you can say you're a leader. I'm a leader. I believe I'm a leader because during my studies, I was the president of the communication club. All right, or you can say I'm a follower. Yeah, I'm also. I believe I'm a good follower because during my studies, I've done a lot of group projects where I work with the leader to complete it within time. Give them an example, or you can say both also. There's no wrong of being a leader and follower at the same time. All right. So go and find out which one you are. And another question. This is a behavioral question. Okay, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? All right. So a lot of times when you are not careful, you would tell the actual truth. So a lot of times the actual truth will be the three actual truths that you cannot share. All right, is number one, I would start my own business. Okay, you say next 5 years you start your own business. So when you start your own business, where would you be? Are you still going to work with the company? Definitely no. Means that you already resigned lah. All right. Secondly, I believe next 5 years I'm gonna pursue my master degree or PhD, whatever. So when you talk about pursuing all this, right, it shows that you will need to study. When you study, are you gonna have giving 100% of your time to the company? Definitely no. All right, it will affect company as well. Or ladies, I'm gonna get married. So when you get married, what's the next thing what's gonna happen after you get married? You get a baby. So when you get a baby, definitely you go on maternity. So the nature in Malaysia, there's still this negative thing about this. That's not the negative thing. That's what's the word. Not misconception. There's this word, a prejudice against ladies taking maternity leave. So they know you doing that. They definitely not going to hire you one. So the safest answer to this question is basically, I foresee myself still working in this company. That must be said first. All right, no matter what it is, no matter whether you because what you haven't started yet, you don't know, ma. Just say that you're gonna work after a year you quit. It doesn't matter, lah. All right. So go and tell them that. Okay, then you tell them during that time, I believe my responsibility will be enlarged, and I'm gonna take in people for me to mentor and coach, lah. That's basically going up already. The career ladder. More work, more people under you. Share that only. Yeah. So that's basically to generalize it. So don't go in there and then not prepare yourself and then just say, the three things I'm sharing just now. All right. So that's basically that. All right. So another funny question, oddball question, funny question. If you're an animal, what would it be? Yeah. So what would it be? So I got this question before sometimes. I think, before I work full time as doing this, I work as a engineer, project manager, sales manager. That's was my career flow. Then I quit and do this full time. All right. I've got one time I got this. So I think the easiest way to answer this is find an animal that is relevant towards the job that you're applying. Let's say, for example, I'm applying for a sales job, right? So what if you're an animal, what will you be? I believe I'm going to be a tiger because I'm going to eat up all the sales that I can find. As a tiger, you're ganas, and then you just catch whatever it is, right? Or let's say, for example, become a manager, operation manager, right? If you're an animal, what will you be? I'll be an eagle so that I can soar high and then look at all the operations. Find something like that to be relevant towards the job that you want to apply. So that's basically to answer that. There are many other questions. Like later, probably during the Q&A, you can throw me and I can guide you what to answer. All right. But most of the time we talk about skill sets and everything is pretty much straightforward. Okay, so all right, so after they have thrown you all these questions, so they're gonna throw you the last question. So the last question is there anything you want to ask? All right, so I think can say probably from my experience, out of 10, 6 will say, oh, there's nothing to ask. When you say that, it shows that you are not interested. You know why? When you want to buy anything, right? You want to buy an iPhone, right? How many questions do you ask the salesperson? Banyak question, the warranty, if battery rosak macam mana, that kind of stuff. There's so much question because what you're interested in doing that. So you go for a job and then you after the whole interview session, you don't have nothing to ask. It means that you're not interested. So you need to ask something. Yeah? So what are the something that you need to ask? Okay, the first thing is not about salary, but not about benefits. Those are things that is spoken last. Last, you got last, another last. All right, so the first thing is probably you need to ask is, how my performance is going to be measured. So when you ask something like that, it shows that you're interested more in the job, how you want to perform and everything. All right. Another question you can ask is there any opportunities for training and relocation? Some people wants to go beyond Malaysia. Or rather beyond KL, you got branch in Sabah, Sarawak, whatever, right? Okay, why not go there? Or even Papua New Guinea. Have you been Papua New Guinea? You know where's Papua New Guinea? That's a very, very ulu place in northern Australia. I have a client there. Wow. He's a Malaysian working in the, what do you call that? Yeah, mackerel. They're doing canning of fish, sardines and everything. There's a big manufacturer there in there. He's working there for 10 years already. Okay, so that's basically that. All right, another question is probably, is this position new or I'm taking over from somebody else? All right, so the difference is what? If it's new, you start from zero, you're taking from somebody else, there is backlog, especially accounts. Yeah. If let's say, for example, that person quit 3 months, you need to do this month's account and also the backlog the other last 3 months, It doesn't mean that you want to reject the job, but at least you're mentally prepared to go to do the job. So this is very important. Ask this question, yeah. And also you can ask the question, what are the challenges that I will face within the first year? They're going to give you a feel of what it is. You can ask that kind of question. So if you notice, it's all about the job. It's not about benefits, not about anything, because I don't want you to go in there and then think about yourself. Think about the company first, be a problem solver, whatever needs, think of the company needs first, then only think about yours. So when you change your mentality like that, it's easy for you to go in. Once you go in, then you change your mentality back to normal, no problem. As long as, you get the job. That's important. All right, so stay with that. And the final question you're going to ask is, what is the next step of this interview process? All right, so ask them, what is the next step? Some people say, okay, there will be another, another interview, the second interview, or they're gonna make a decision already. All right, so that's how it is. So the key thing here is basically to get as many interviews as possible, so that you get a good number of offers, that's basically that. All right, so we're done with the questions. Yeah, so you got any question or on the question that you need to ask right later? All right, we do in the Q&A. Okay, all right, so that's before the interview. You need to prepare the 5 no's, and then you need to prepare your scripts. So should you script it out? To me, no. Because what? Unless you're really have problems communicating, in English. If you got no problem, just put in notes would be fine. Bullet points, that will be fine. One keyword, then you know how to explain. That's how to do it. All right, so moving on to the during the interview. So during the interview is what? your dressing. All right, for men, all right, make sure your hair is well groomed. Okay, make no facial hair. Wear collared long sleeve shirt, blue, white, gray will be fine, and wear a tie. And then your belt and your shoe must be matching in color. And then also wear slacks or slacks lah. Don't wear jeans, all these cargo pants and everything. That's not the right way lah. And then make sure you have conservative shoes. Conservative shoe is basically not much pattern lah. All right. And then no white color socks. Okay, we don't. The whole point here is not right. I don't want you to wear too overdress, yeah, to until one point where people look at you is like, you're not conforming. This is basically conforming to the public. Once you have work already, then you want to go your own style, it's up to you. All right. But make sure you start off with like everybody else, wear like this, go to interview, get a job, and then change your style. It's fine. Okay, for the ladies, make sure your hair is well groomed, and then in terms of the makeup, minimal makeup. You got eyeliner, lipstick, and some foundation, and then your blouse is soft colors, all right, and then long sleeve, and then the pants or the skirt, make sure the hemline is below the knee, and then please wear fully covered shoes. Yeah. All right. And then 1 or 2 inch of heels. When you have heels, you look much more poised. That's important. All right. But if you're talking about online interview, just the face and the shirt will be fine. That's how it is. But to me, just wear as it is, so that you have the feel of like real interview. Yeah. So that's basically to condition yourself. All of us have it doesn't matter whether it's the brain or the muscle, whatever, right? It's all called muscle memory, So if you do certain things at the same way, right, the thing comes back to you like that. So to me, I'm wearing the whole full set of the shirt and the pants and everything. Of course, there's no shoe at home, right? Okay, but it gives me the feel of I'm actually at the workshop on stage. Then all these thing comes back to me. So that's the thing you need to do as well. All right. Okay. So that's basically things that you need to wear. All right. Then it's about your body language. So when you go to interview, all right, you need to smile. Of course, that's a sign of confidence. Yeah. You need to smile, and then when you speak, you gotta speak up clearly and with passion. Passion is what I'm doing right now, giving you energy and everything. It's like let's say for example, this is not passionate. What you need to do is talk about good body language, and hopefully you don't fall asleep. In another 10 minutes with this kind of voice, I think all of you would fall asleep. So that's basically monotonous. Monotonous is like one line, if it's in the hospital, one line is masuk bilik mayat already, they call it one line. So you need to go up and down, up and down, up and down. So that's passion. Similarly, when you talk about something that is important to you, slow it down. If it's like something that is key to your skill set, you can also make sure that increase the volumes. There's so many things you can do. It's just that don't do monotonous. All right. This thing can be trained. Go and find someone and then share with it. It's fine. And how do you know? It's basically sharing things that you like. It's not about the job. When you share something, let's say, for example, you're so interested in fashion, right? Then you share your fashion. Then from there, you can see, what sort of level of passion that you have really for certain things. Then you use back the same kind of passion, talk about the skill set, about the job and everything. All right. Okay. So that's basically speaking. And then when you stand, make sure your eyes and shoulder parallel to ground, stand up straight. And also when you sit up straight, which is 2 to 3, sit 2/3 of the chair, meaning that you don't go and fully put your what they call it, your back onto the chair, leave a space so that you're poised. And then for the hands, you do stippling is basically like this. Yeah, there's this, put it here on front of you. Yes, or you can put everything like this in front of you. The reason is you need to lock your hand or do your stippling, because if you don't do it, your hand's gonna run away with you like a wild horse. You know what they do? First thing is the whole body itches. When you go for interview, right? Suddenly the whole body itching because you're nervous. All right. Another thing is tapping. You're tapping here and there. Tuk, 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 tuk. If you have a pen on your hand, even worse. You start to do things in, like you're doing exam, right? What you do with the pen during exam? First thing is probably you want to play around street, doing the tick tack, tick tack, tick tack, tick tack. As a interviewer, that's very, very annoying, and you would not notice it because what? You're nervous. All your mind is thinking about how to answer. All right. So if possible, don't put anything on your hand. All right. Lock it up or put it in the what they call that in stippling mode. Not sleeping mode, stippling. Okay. So that's basically positive body language. All right. So we're done with that. Okay. That's basically the dressing and how you behave. All right. So let's say, for example, you have done your go through your interviews and everything, right? Okay. So after the interview, what do you need to do? All right. So of course, you need to do follow up. So how do you follow up? When do you follow up? Follow up normally around 3 days after the interview. Don't go follow up tomorrow because they're not gonna get a what they call that a result within so short period of time. And if possible, write a thank you letter. When you write a thank you letter, try to point out, what sort of problems that you can solve there. So go to the interview, treat it as an opportunity for you to ask, what they need of you. And then in the thank you letter, mention that, you can perform all those things. At least it gives them a understanding that you're not going there just to talk only. You have a plan on what you want to do and everything. It would definitely move you up, compared to the rest of the candidates. All right. And then do self-reflection and self-analysis. That's another thing that you need to do. Of course, the best is you go in there, you get your job already. You do all these things. But I can tell you a lot from experience, the first interview that you go, normally you don't get the job. Because what? Interview is like a performance. The more you have the opportunity to perform, the better you get at it. So normally you're going to be number 2 or number 3 one. All right. So how do you get more interviews? Create a strong resume. So once you create a strong resume, let's say, for example, you send up 20 applications. Out of 20 applications, you get around 4 interviews. You go for 4 interviews, you get 2 offers. And then that's where the fun is. You can select. I don't want you to create write resume, only get 1 interview and then go in there, it's do or die. Then you're in different mindset really. If you have 4 or 5 interviews at one time, you get 4 or 5, your mindset is different. You can prepare yourself. So that's basically the game of numbers that we are talking about. You got to use all these tools that I've shared, all right, which is the resume, the channels, the way to answer these questions and how prepare yourself and everything. It all comes together with a flow, and it's a proven thing. I've done it with the jam student really, so don't mind sharing with you. All right. So it's that thing that you need to do. So up to here. All right. That's where you close, you get your job. And then, later, second job, third job, you can find me personally. Then I can give you coaching already. So that's basically that. All right. So, okay. I'm done with the interview part already. So we left quite a lot of time for Q&A. All right. You can ask anything as well. Doesn't matter. Yep. Back to you. Yep.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Hans, for the informative sharing session. Actually, I can humbly say that I have reflected on all of my past interview sessions right after hearing from you, Mr. Hans. And I feel like I've done quite a lot of mistakes that you've mentioned. So
you've been through how many interviews you've been through?
I feel like I've gone through around 4 to 5 interviews. Usually it is from my university interviews. And some I think I have done what you have encouraged us to do, and some I've done terribly wrong. But I think I've got the lesson. So probably I would part to better.
Yeah.
All right.
Any question for you guys? Yeah.
Okay. Finishing this slot, we will have one last Q&A session with Mr. Hans about this interview skills. Thus, participants can use this time to shoot your questions. Okay. Oops, we already have our first question. Hi, sir. How to handle interviewers who are eccentric and leave a good impression on them?
All right, to me, okay, from my experience, is basically, find out, during the interview what they like. When you talk about eccentric interviewers, right, they are there not to talk about the job one. They are most of the time they're going to talk about other things. So most important thing is you got to find out, what are the hot buttons, basically, the things that they really like, and then you work based on that only. Because what? In the end of the day, they will only probably know out of like 5 candidates, whatever, only one person that would like, or rather is in tune with him. Because this basically, or her, eccentricity is like that. 80-20 rule. 80% is general, 20% is gila, a bit like centric, like it's called it. So you need to ensure that, whatever they are interested in, you must be able to join in the conversation. And of course, if you, let's say, for example, you tried it and you don't get it, doesn't matter. Because what? The most important thing is you generate a lot of interview offers. Then, it would hedge all these issues away. All right, how you get it? Okay, create a strong resume and then use all those channels. Yeah, so that's basically to answer that question.
Right, thank you, sir. And I hope Ms. Zagaria have gotten the answer that you have needed. Moving on, we have another question from Omshini. Hi, sir. What is the desirable skills, either soft or hard, to stand out from other competitors?
Okay, it's not so much about skills. It's about how you build a rapport with your interviewer. Because in the end of the day, this interviewer will be your boss, So of course, when you talk about how to overcome competitors, right, the most important thing is basically the likability. Find the commonality. Because, if I want to work with someone for the rest of my life, so-called, right, I need to find someone I work with that I like. So you will need to find a way to make that person like you. So how you make it, as I mentioned, find commonalities. Commonality is not just place, It could be like, I like baking, interviewer like baking. You got something you can talk about baking. It could be something else, I don't know. So you go in there, go into the interview and find that thing out. And then work on that. So that, as long as skill set in terms of soft skill, hard skill, it's minimal 50%. All right. But the rest of it is covered by your likability. You can win it one. That's basically from my experience. People will give you a chance. The most important is people want to give you the chance. So it's not about hard skills or soft skills. All right. So that's basically to answer the question.
Okay, so moving on to the next question from Nityasri. Sir, does my body language affect the impression of interviewers on me?
Most definitely. Yeah, because when you talk about interviews, right? First impression is what you're dressing. That's why I came up with the dressing, right? The second thing is about your hand movement, your your other body language. Right? It could be your facial expression, your leg, whether it's shaking or not, and everything. So these are all telltale sign whether you are nervous, whether you can do it or not. It's not about, if let's say, for example, it's just you in there, it's fine. The problem is you got other candidates, Other candidates, they can handle it better than you, and then you probably would not get the job. So always be careful not to show negative body language. And it's fine to me, you've never done it before, as I mentioned, like the first resume usually koyak one, because what, you have no idea what it is. All right. So if you shake a lot and everything, go and think about it. All right. Remember, okay, during that time, my head is keep on shaking, and then I'm keep on doing this, itching here and there, So the next time, during the next interview, control that. Tell your mind, focus on your answers. Control that. If you catch yourself doing it, stop it. That's how to improve it. As you get along, your body language, you can get better. The problem is, a lot of times, interviewees are not aware about all these things. They just go in there, do it, say, and then didn't get a job. Go in there, say, didn't get a job. That's how the problem is. So I'm here to point out all these things. Because what? It's not just you. There's so many other people there, and only one job. And it only take you can fail 10 times, 20 times, but you success one time enough already. So always remember, you get improvement one by one. Go and identify that. I already point out what it is. So you slowly identify. As I mentioned, first one usually you don't get it one. Treat it as like a friendly match or whatever, to polish up certain things. Yeah. The most important, get a lot of interview offers so that you can move it. I can tell you a lot of times there's a lot of interview offers. okay, why not like this? If you got a chance, go apply for a job that you don't want. You see, you go in there, you treat the interview as like a friendly, basically you're testing them lah. You know that you're not gonna want that job one, and then you slowly improve yourself from there. That's how to do it. Because all the mock interviews that you go through, right, doesn't work, man, because it's mock. It's not in the real situation. But if you're in the real situation, all right, then you know how to behave. And of course, you don't go in there and then interview and then come out, you learn nothing. It's not that way. You go in purposely want to improve for certain things. And why not? They give you the job. See whether you want or not. It's something that you don't want anyway. So that's basically things that you can do. Yep.
Okay, I hope that answered your question. So, moving on to the next question from Aishwarya. Thank you, Mr. Han, for your tips and tricks. If you are still waiting on a company for an offer letter and they are not as communicative as you, how can you gently pressure them a bit to get back to you?
All right. So, okay, when you talk about offer letter, it's like everything settled already, It's basically, okay, they like you, all right, they want to offer you that job. Okay, so basically, there are a couple of people that you need to be aware of. All right, the first one, of course, is the HR. The second one will be the hiring manager. So hopefully, you'll be able to contact those two people, especially the hiring managers. If we talk about hiring managers, the earlier you get the person in, the easier my life would be, because I have someone to throw away, throw the job to already. I don't need to cover myself already. I got already so much work. If I get someone in, I can throw half of my work to that person. It will make my life easy. So if they are like, for example, not coming up with you, delay at dilly-dally, right? Right, it means that there is something in the procedure, or they are waiting for their best candidate, which is not you, to confirm. So that's the problem also. So what you can do is probably the best is to talk to the hiring manager. Don't go and call every day, that is pestering, right? Okay. Call every 3 days, 4 days, just ask for the situation and everything. You tukar, one from the hiring manager, another one from the HR manager, and find out from there. But not go every day to the same person. That's how to non-stop sharing it. And when you call, make sure that you say that you're very eager to join them. And as a matter of fact, I have idea to solve this problem, whatever it is, to show that you're keen. But if you ask me, my understanding could be, they have what they call that best candidate they are waiting at before they want to offer to you. That's what I feel. Yeah. All right. So that's basically to answer that question. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And moving on to the next question from Tishalini. Hi, sir. Should I include all the academic certificates other than the document which has been stated in the resume?
Okay, most of the time when you go for the interview, you need to bring a folder. So the folder inside there, the first page is basically your degree, and then followed by all the certificates that you have been received, during your education in your university. Yeah, so that's basically that. So a lot of times just put it in there. It doesn't matter whether you state in a resume or not. Just bring it there for them to what they call it, take a look. Yeah. But again, there's not much certificate, so no problem. It's about, in the end of the day, it's about how you explain, Yeah, I can tell them I've been to this course in Genting for 2 days. Then you explain what you have done there and everything. Unfortunately, they didn't give me any certificate. I'm fine with it, because what's important is the experience and the knowledge that you gain from there, rather than just one piece of paper. Yeah. So that's basically the thing. So if you have it, then go ahead and then share that. Yeah.
Okay, so now we are moving on to our last question, and I can say that this question is quite an odd one. So okay, let me read it first. We finish the interview and you step outside the office and find a lottery ticket that ends up winning $10 billion. What would you do? How can we answer this question if it's asked in an interview?
All right. So I would need to know, what sort of job you're applying. If the job that you're applying talk about integrity, talk about compliance, talk about all these things that is following rules, then you got to do the right thing, which is ask the office manager or whoever's in there, and then, tell them that you found this, and then ask them put in the lost and found lah. All right. So that's basically a job that is involving compliance, follow rules. All right. So if you're talking about a job that is what they call it, like sales, that can bend rules, yeah, to achieve a certain objective, then you can say like, probably you want to keep it, or you want to share it, or whatever it is. All right. So depending on the nature of the job. Because what? I don't want you to go there and then just say that, oh, I want to follow the rules. Sedangkan that job is a job that requires you to sometimes bend the rules. Understanding sales, yeah. When people say that, you got to do this, actually no, they're just the rules. But you can always bend the rules to win the thing. And a lot of times, winning sales is about those people that wins the sale, right? They always bend the rules, right? So depends on the type of job that this person is applying. But if you're talking about compliance, anti-money laundering stuff that is involving banks and everything, definitely you got to follow rules. And they cannot have someone who doesn't follow rule to join a job, then they problem. Because Bank Negara will shut them down if, let's say, they found out. All right. So that's on the nature of the situation.
All right. So we have another one last question. I think we can take up this question. Which one is important, soft skills or academic qualifications?
It depends on the job, you see. I think when you talk about academic qualification, it has to be something to do with hard skills. If your hard skills and soft skills, jobs like that requires technicality, a function, it could be HR, could be IT, could be engineering, of course, academic qualification. You cannot be having good soft skills, communication skills and do engineering work. It's not enough. Right? But unless you're talking about jobs like, for example, frontliner, customer service, you don't need the degree to do customer service. The most important thing is your communication skill, your ability to build what they call rapport with people. Yeah, that's actually soft skill. So again, it depends on the job that you want to apply. Yeah, what I hope whatever you're learning from here is about the flexibility, understanding what's the need of the job, and then you curate whatever you have towards that. That's how to win the thing. A lot of people come to me, Hans, you write the resume that you write, not me lah. Not me in sense of what? I know all these things, but you didn't put it in. My way of telling them is, yeah, if I put it in, it would make your resume so general that people would not want you. Because what? You have a lot of skill. Jack of all trade, master of none. So everyone want to hire specialists. Yeah? Of course, you go in there, they throw everything at you lah. Definitely, the companies. But that's how the rule is. And I've been doing this for 20 years, and the rule still functions until today lah. Until probably next year they change the rule, I don't know lah. But still right now, still okay lah. So the moral story is you got to find out what is needed, then you morph yourself, or rather highlight those things that you have, that to make that, even though those things that you have is only just 10% of what you know. So the 90% throw one side, for it doesn't matter. Talk about that 10% only. Go in the interview, talk about that 10% as if you have been doing it 90% of your time. That's how to win it. All right. So that's basically to answer that question.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Hans. And also, I would like to thank the person who have asked the very last question for this session. So, with that being said, we have reached to the end of this Q&A session. Once again, I would like to thank Mr. Hans Toh for clearly giving us the answers that have been asked. And also, I would like to thank everyone who have also put their efforts in asking so many questions. I hope we really had a good time, and we have also increased each other's knowledge by asking each other's questions. Next, we sing the HUPM anthem together.
விதியை வென்றிடலாம் முயல்வோமே வா தோழா விடியலை நோக்கும் பேரவையை நம் புறாப்படை தோழா யாரும் தமிழ் மொழியே உலகில் யாவையும் தமிழ் மொழியே உயிரும் தமிழ் மொழியே உயிர் மூச்சிலும் தமிழ் மொழியே தமிழாரம் தலைமுறை முழுதாய் நிலையாய் நிலைக்கட்டும் துணிவாய் இதுக்காகவே மாணவர் படையாய் இனி உழைப்போம் கடல் அலையாய் தமிழாரம் தலைமுறை முழுதாய் நிலையாய் நிலைக்கட்டும் துணிவாய் இதுக்காகவே மாணவர் படையாய் இனி உழைப்போம் கடல் அலையாய்
Thank you, everyone. Dear participants, a photography session will be held now. Thus, participants are required to open your cameras for the photography session. All right. Okay. So let's just wait a few more minutes for others to open their cameras, yeah? All right, so we will start taking out pictures. So for the first page, say 1, 2, 3. Okay, for the second page, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, for the third page, 1, 2, 3. And for the fourth page, 1, 2, 3. And last one, freestyle. 1, 2, and 3. All right, thank you, everyone. All right, we have finally come to the end of Talk the Job Career Insights workshop. On behalf of the students, I would like to express our gratitude with Mr. Hansto for instilling knowledge and guidance. I hope throughout the whole event, everyone has gained some sort of knowledge. Thank you all for your kind participation throughout this event. Wish you all the best in your endeavors. All right, please be waited for quite a while as we are having some technicalities problem. Okay, thank you very much for your patience. Okay, cool. Dear participants, the moment you have all been waiting for has arrived. Yes, it's the marriage session that you've been waiting for so long. A marriage slide will be screen shared for 2 minutes. Participants are required to screenshot it and upload it in the attendance form given later. Remember, participants, the marriage slide will only be shown for 2 minutes. No merits will be awarded if one fails to upload this merit slide in the attendance form. May start screenshotting now. Dear participants, please check the chat box as the merit form for session 2 has been blasted. Please fill in the details and do not forget to upload the merit slide as a proof of your attendance. Participants are reminded that the merit form will only be open for 5 minutes. So please fill it out by then. Thank you everyone and have a very good day.